Test. Test. Still meeting. Steve's report. Spring cleanups on 16th.
Oh, sure, yeah. In fact, there was a notice out. I grabbed it, I'll go. I have to call a lady up tomorrow morning up in, sorry, but the Tamarack City Fire Department is not going to get all the way up there.
Oh.
And I don't know who picked it up in the past. I don't know if Calumet Township's doing something, so
I don't remember ever going up there. But we've never, well, I mean, if she's across 41, we've never been there.
yeah, I think what she is she's south of the Holiday gas station and up in there as you're heading up into.
Andrew, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect, thank you. Okay, I gotta run home. I'll be right back.
Is that Andy Kiernan?
Yes.
Andy, we're about 11 minutes, 12 minutes from starting our water board meeting.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna go get my thing, I'll be right back. Yeah, I know exactly where it is.
Pardon? Oh, yeah, that'll save you some time to talk with her. Well, when Aaron arrives, there'll be 4 board members, Bob's probably more than handy, you all here, 7 in there.
First time I've ever looked at it, that comes how often I look at it.
Well, that's okay, this thing's 4 years old. Wait, oh, no, technically, it just, technically would have ended that. Cause it's still 20. So if we get more than 7 people, how do you want her, what do you suggest?
Yeah, I think what we do is, if we get to 7 to, what she can do is stop the, right now, we're at capacity in the meeting area. And, if you don't mind.
Do you want me to put Zoom copy it really quick if? I have it, you sent it to me. Oh, yeah, put it online, yeah, so it'd be easy to print that out and give it to somebody if they.
There were people stopping and writing it down.
Okay.
Now, taking attendance, do we ask at the beginning of each meeting?
Maybe you should put all that Clorox and stuff right up here so it's on the camera.
You got it all set up there, so.
Well, that was cool.
Don't fit over glasses too rough.
Oh, upside down.
Hey, worked in chemistry for 42 years, I have a lot of supply of these.
I have some cloth ones that are gifts. I think this one came from my sister. Glasses an issue?
Glasses don't work well with these.
I've seen pictures that glasses wearers have drawn, like, they get fogged up and stuff.
They do, that's exactly what just happened.
Yep.
So I guess I'll be blind.
That should be good. Oh my God, I'm dying already. Is anybody cold? Are you guys cold?
No, I grabbed this, I'm.
Are you okay if I crack the window?
Oh, I'm not bothered with, Don's got a short sleeve shirt on, so.
I'm fine.
The temperature in here has such wild fluctuations.
That's weird.
When we had our meeting the other day, we're all spread out and it was like 55 degrees.
I know.
Just-
What?
Yeah?
you get a call from John Paul? Yeah. So, that was,
And that's probably a little bit.
it helped immensely, because I'm glad I kept my mouth shut during the.
No, I did it.
Are you attending, sir? Okay. Please sign in, yeah, well, that's your discretion, but we're wearing them.
You think I'd log it in just.
Now, there's extras too.
Your phone. I'm worried about that ad, but like, there, it's not there. I didn't test it before.
I have unmuted my mic. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to mute myself again then. I was just checking to see if it worked.
Okay, yep, you work. Who is that?
This is Cindy Barris.
Oh, hi, Cindy.
So I'll listen and turn off my mute and turn off the video.
Okay, sounds good.
Bye.
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 Said this is.
Yeah, just informational for us.
Okay.
B&B bid is awful. Holy. It's like $40,000 higher.
Just go ahead, okay. I wasn't sure
I think I'll take the bottom one off.
I'm gonna look like Dumbo by the time you.
Yeah, I can't.
We all are.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna have these all night long.
Oh, there. Oh, found it. Oh, can I add the person? No, but I can see who's here and see if I didn't hear. But if there's one of them. Oh, there. There. That's what I was looking for.
Did you get it?
Yep. Now, do we have a chat that we do? Yeah.
How can you drink a beer through these things anyway? You have one before you start, you smell it all night long, Ron.
That's why there's a little padding there.
But am I gonna?
We're still a minute or two from starting now.
Yeah, Bob just pulled up.
Make yourself comfortable.
I mean, like, if I don't turn around and look. Oh, you know what I mean? Or just-
That's the way it is there, right?
Still making a few technical adjustments.
Okay, well, I mean,
Just, these people all gotta buy their things from the same spots, and there's, from $200 to $1,700 for the same piece. Wow. Something wrong.
Interesting to review.
If we stand here in front of that, does that help? Just makes it lots nicer though, it's all spread out and you can see everything.
For those of you that are joining us, we're a minute or two from starting. We're to make some technical adjustments, and we have one board member en route, and in deference to him, we'll wait.
Hey,
Mark.
Not under here.
Yes. Hello?
Hi, this is Horst. How are you guys doing?
Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
You need a moment, sir? I think so.
He's ready. He's smart, so these ones, glasses don't work.
No, it's not. Everyone ready? We'll call the Osceola Township Water Board meeting to order. At the time, I believe it's 6:04, 6:03. Roll call attendance. Krista, would you note who's present and who is not?
You want me to take a roll call or?
If you would, please.
Okay, Mr. Yankee,
Here.
Mr. Wareham,
Here.
myself here, Stacy's not here, and Mr. Hopewell.
Here. Thank you. The first item on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Worm. Is there support?
Support.
Mr. Janke. Any corrections, deletions, additions to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the minutes, please indicate by saying aye.
Right.
Aye. Or did I skip one?
Oh, you did.
I did.
Agenda.
I need a motion prior to the minutes to approve the agenda. I think
No,
I
you
asked
did-
for that
you
and then
did
went
the
down to
agenda,
the
it's
minutes.
just- you
That's
just-
on me.
yeah.
I better put my glasses on. Thank you. So I have a motion to approve the agenda. All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We now have an agenda. Item 4, correct myself, approval of the minutes for the April 15th Water Board meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Ms. Gardner, is there support?
Support.
Mr. Wareham, are there any corrections, deletions, or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as presented, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item number 5 on the agenda, financial report. In your packet, you should find the profit and loss, budget versus actual. You should find a balance sheet. You should find a checklist. And that is the extent of the financial report packet for the May meeting. Any questions about the financial report?
So, I guess Tracy's not here. But last month we went over these, and there were some issues that we talked about, and then last year's budget would be corrected.
I think that's all in the board meeting packet.
It's all moved to that?
I'm pretty sure.
Cause I'm pretty sure we went over that in this too.
You're referring to the 1920 water system budget.
correct?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they're in the.
Okay, so we're not gonna worry about that here. We'll look at it over there. All right, that's fine then. Okay.
And review and action if necessary, referred to the board meeting.
So, I'm assuming that with that one all corrected up, that is that transferred to this one yet, or is that forthcoming?
The budget that we're utilizing is the one that was approved by the board prior to the start of the fiscal year.
Sure, but
But you don't see our.
I don't see, yeah, I mean, okay, so what I'm wondering is, this is still our old budget and is not yet corrected based on the correction of the other one.
If you're referring to the budget for 2021,
That's what I'm referring to, yes.
this is,
I'm assuming this is as of April 20.
this was the budget that was approved for the current fiscal year. Second column on the budget.
I understand that part.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that part. What I'm saying is we now have a corrected budget for the 1920, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And my question is those corrections have not yet been carried to this budget.
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah, okay.
So that's, I know it's the hydrants, I know another new number, but it's still wrong, but.
So, okay.
Remember, we're talking about Osceola Township right now.
Well, that's right.
That's all I'm asking is that the current budgets that we're operating on, and it would have been a question here somewhere along the line, no matter what, is that the current budgets are not yet corrected, even though our 1920s are corrected.
1920s have been corrected. The 2021 budgets that we approved back in March have not been updated. That's quite narrowly.
Yeah. Good.
So knowing that, I guess I'll make a motion to approve the financial.
There is a motion to approve the financial reports as presented, noting that there is still work to be done in 2021 budgets, with an expected review at the June meeting. Is there support for the motion?
Or,
Support. Any additional questions, comments?
do we do insurance payments like twice a year then? Is that how we usually do this?
I think he's referring to you, Krista.
For
The insurances that are paid either annually, semi-annually, quarterly.
Like an auto insurance is 6 months or something like that, or whatever everybody else says.
generally,
I'm just
Yeah.
wondering we're already at 46%. I know we have a new budget that's coming, but, my question is do we typically just make this in 2 lump sum payments is where I guess I'm going with that.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
If you look, for example, further down on the budget,
Yeah.
National Bank, there's a line for the, let's say, April or early May.
So that's an interest-only payment, that one, and then there must be another one that comes along the line here that's a principal and interest payment or something along those
but
lines.
it actually happens like right at the end of the year.
Okay.
Like we just paid it,
And is that the one that we were concerned about, that we may have paid twice on one year, not on the other or something?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Okay, no more further questions from me on this.
On the financials,
Yeah.
all in favor of the motion then to approve the financial reports as presented, please indicate by saying aye.
Right.
All the same sign, motion carries. The bills to be paid are in packets, I believe, in front of you for review. In the red folders, I believe, Krista?
Mhm. Should be copies of the bills, yeah.
Fine.
Anybody want additional time to take a look at these? If not, a motion to approve payment of the bills is in order.
Move.
Recommend.
Move.
By Mr. Janke, support by Mr. Wareham. Any additional discussion on the bills? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the bills and recommending them up to the board, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Public comment? Is anyone interested in offering comment to the board relative to the Osceola Township water system operation?
Is there anybody on there even?
Mm-hmm. One, two, three, four, five, seven people on.
I'll ask again if anybody's interested in offering comment. Hearing none, we'll reserve some time at the end of the meeting should someone wish to comment before we adjourn. Please note the time, the public comment. Item 8, reports. Water operators. Bob, I know there's handout material. Would you please amplify what you've distributed to us and add any additional comments?
Just the pumpage again. Yeah, just the pumpage.
Yep.
You already put all right. Last week, with negative. Running the fiber optic from the highway on First Street all the way down to the school. And most of that was complete. They need to bore across the main street and across Sixth Street to get that completed. And it goes in from the school, or it goes into the boiler room. The fiber optic.
I'm not hearing very well.
We'll ask Bob to speak up. Bob, if you'd like to move closer or speak up, be helpful.
Is that what was going down Elm Street then?
Yeah,
Yeah. All right.
the fiber optics for the school.
Okay.
They only, broke one water line at the stone farm, which they repaired, so. So that was okay.
They should have been pretty shallow though, right?
Yeah, it's about 3 feet.
Well, they were deep then. They were deeper than I would normally think.
And if they thought, like, the biggest problem was from the main street down, they didn't go quite as deep. They would, pull all of the covers loose on there so they could measure down
Yeah,
to the valve.
down to the valves, yeah.
Yeah. So they didn't go quite as deep there because a lot of those 3.5 feet maybe.
Well, some of those services probably come up off the mains too.
They didn't, they didn't have the equipment in those days.
Yeah, there was a lot of hand digging back then.
Done by hand,
Yeah.
so that's why it's not very deep on that street over there.
Can't blame them if you ever dug in Dollar Bay by hand.
So, he tried to bore across Main Street this way, and that didn't work. And it started coming up on him. So he tried it the other way, and he hit, I don't know if he hit the same rock or whatever, but it started to come up, so they will be bringing a rock boring rig up here to do that, and then to do in front of Kirkish's across Sixth Street.
Hmm.
So that'll be complete shortly.
Interesting, because it's probably just boulders. But he's gonna try to bore through a boulder anyways, eh?
Well, that machine will,
Yeah.
that they're bringing.
As long as they don't shove stuff around that starts pressing on our water mains and stuff, I guess, you know?
Well, he make it, to the main going this way,
Okay.
and then, I don't know how far he got coming the other way. So, that needs to be completed. Just today, Champagne come down here and dig up 2 curb stops to fix them, they're broke. So, we just got done with that one, probably about 5:30 or something. So, other than that,
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm gonna need some supplies too, so.
He needs a bigger building down there.
For supplies?
For his stuff, yeah.
Yeah,
I took a little tour, again, it's been a while since I've been down there, so I took a little tour the other day
he said it's not big enough.
of the pump house and the storage building. The storage building's full.
I agree with him.
We went too small the first time, we should've went bigger. Anyways, just throwing it out there.
I understand, but it will be easier for him to move stuff. Tell it, Jack.
It will. I don't know if have you been down in to look at it at all?
I've been down there once, but not recently. I say that a little bit tongue in cheek.
I'm not
because
saying that it's not because it's messy, I mean, it's not that it's messy or something, it's just
full.
full.
Should we get you over here for, you know?
I actually think some of that stuff should be considered if we ever do this, what I've been trying to allude to, with some kind of a conglomerate project type thing where we try to pick up holes. I mean, I went down there and saw some of the meter recorder equipment. Some of that just definitely needs to be updated. You know, with that part of that, you could, and the services that we've been talking about that need to be updated, and then maybe you include something like this, especially the gantry thing or whatever he wants to do in there to, so he can lift that pipe up.
Yeah, it has to be an I-beam in the ceiling so we can pick up and turn it.
Something so that it can be accessed easier than it is right now, but those are all things that can just be put on a list. We probably should start to put together a list, and then we can look at project time of what ones we're gonna have to strike off it because we can't do something along those lines. But the project list should probably start being created, I would think.
No, point well made. We've already started one relative to roads and other infrastructure.
I feel that in order to go and talk to a consultant at this point, you'd wanna go in with your list of items that we should probably be considering, and like the school project, you go in with a list of desires, and you probably get half of what you want, but
Did you get half?
I don't know, there was a lot of things that, yeah, that's not my I won't talk about that project, but, the idea is we can do what we can afford, that's it, you know.
I just got the backside of the elementary. And then when Aaron was there, when we went out, informing me how that storm drain was gonna run. Have a storm drain out, coming off that elementary, that's gonna cross, go over to Morrison's Corner over, and then back over to that other drain that's there. And, also I got another misdig, today. Must be gone from Morrison's.
I think they're gone now, because I think we had somebody in there doing,
Shut up.
testing. We had people go in there doing testing, for, they have to test for asbestos and that kind of stuff before the demo of the place. They were in there, and the testers said that there was nobody there anymore, there was no tenants. So that was just this last week, so I think they're out now, yeah.
We just got the notice to shut it off.
I mean, so that hydrant, or not hydrant, but maybe there's a couple of valves we were talking about over there on that corner too, and, you know, there's fencing that we've been talking about up around the tank. A lot of things being thrown around here that maybe you should look at. Something that goes over to Sandy Bottoms, there's all kinds of,
The biggest question I had is with the tank, property settled up there. You know what I'm saying? move your tank or whatever, it goes up across the corner of that old tank.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'll follow up on that. I haven't heard anything. I've been talking to him about it. I've had 2-3 conversations with, I think it's Carlson, right,
I
Paul
believe
correctly.
that was,
But I think that's been resolved, but let me go back and check the paperwork. But I'll talk to him. I'll follow up with that. And, to your point, Aaron, the fence, if I recall correctly, came up at a meeting a couple of months ago again when we were talking about it. And I do believe I put it on the infrastructure list.
Yeah, okay, I'm not talking about the fence that's there, I'm talking about a real fence, yeah.
Security fence, I think I noted that, and I've added it to the list. I've got a running list, and, individuals across the township that work for the township have been providing me with input about what they think can or should be done, so I'm compiling. That was part of the reason, I don't wanna jump too far ahead, but why I put the federal infrastructure bill on the township board agenda for last month, and I'll do a quick follow-up, what little I know about what the next proposed aid package is coming out of the House, so, at the federal level, so. Anything else for Bob? Bob, anything else for us? Thank you very much.
They had,
Okay,
like I said, that, when they broke that, they fixed their expense, and then they also did me a big favor at Spurs House. They dug up a shut-off that we had to change the shut-off because they went that something like this. It's no good in the winter time. So they dug down to the water main. Didn't cost us anything.
that's encouraging.
Aren't they building a house down there too? Are you talking about down like Stones down here, or the old?
Oh, no, he's talking about Spurs going that way.
I know, okay,
Oh, okay.
down by the,
Stone's Farm, I'm talking about. Farm.
yeah, isn't there, I thought
That's where
that,
they pulled it apart.
oh,
What's his name on the end of T, that's all,
yeah,
he doesn't do supply.
okay.
Any additional comments, Bob?
That's it.
Thank you very much, sir. Further discussion? Secretary's report is in your packet.
Received? So,
Questions, comments, observations?
so we got, okay, this is what I was asking for here, okay. Build usage. Okay, so we have a usage versus a pumped here. I was asking about that last time.
mhm.
Good. So this number right here is our build number, and then we have to look at that other report to get a pump number. Is that what we're doing here?
Pump it was 4 million something.
Yeah.
You were
So-
looking for the difference between the two.
Yeah, we had talked about this before, where I was asking for, basically, this is good enough. Now I have a build number versus a pumped number. So I could keep track of our differences between the two. I mean, right now, we're pumping 4 million and we're billing for we're pumping 4.3 million and we're billing for 2.8 million. So we're pumping almost twice as much as we're billing for, which is why
Yeah.
if you were doing that in Tamarack, you guys would be pretty concerned.
Yep.
I'm just saying, yeah, you know,
You don't have numbers.
it's still concerned, this is why I have been concerned about this for a while, and we keep looking for leaks, and Bob finds some, but I mean, I think he's right when we have to attribute some of this to the service line problems and stuff like that. I mean, that's a lot of extra pumping that's going on by a set of old pumps that's not
1.5
necessary.
million, if the math is correct, so we're pumping about
Correct.
60% more than we're billing for.
Excuse me,
Yeah, so,
is there an agenda available online for people to look at?
question, great question.
This is Linda from Mason, Linda and Michael Heisler, and trying to follow along, but just wondering if there's an agenda online that's available.
We can hang one in front of the camera for the duration if you would like.
No, that,
I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding.
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have to
Linda,
get-
I emailed you a copy of the board packet to your messenger. This is Kristen, to your messenger when I saw that you were going to attend tonight.
fantastic. I will look in Messenger. Thank you.
You bet.
Okay,
We're also
sorry.
looking to set up both- Yeah, that would be, but thank you very much for the observation.
The other part of that, if that was in Tamarack, we'd be getting done. We'd be- That's a lot of water going somewhere that.
Yeah.
that's what our concern has been, and it was actually worse than this at one time, so it has been knocked down, but it's still a high volume. This is the number I was looking for. I haven't seen this number in a while, and so this is what I was asking for last month.
Then it requires monthly monitoring.
I'd like just to keep an eye on it to see if it gets worse or better or whatever, but, you know, I mean, we're pumping away a lot of water somewhere. Okay,
We're just refurbishing it, drawing water.
Just going back to the.
right, just circulating, keeping it fresh, doesn't want it to stagnate.
Additional comments? Unfinished business. That is the information you were seeking, and at this moment, you're satisfied with it, because it starts the comparative process with hard numbers in front of you.
Correct.
Anything else, Aaron?
Mm-mm.
Thank you.
I don't know if I told you, I got all my test bottles for this year. I picked them up when I brought samples down to Whitewater. Copper lead I have to do beginning in June. Partial chemistry, will be, I can do that anytime right now. Section byproducts, I have I don't have to do copper and lead down in Tamarack until 2022. I finally, the numbers didn't warrant us to year like the wrong one, so they finally woke up.
Well, that's encouraging.
Yeah,
Thank you. But you've got all the bottles for this year now.
well,
Thanks, Bob. Anything else under unfinished business? We moved into that without declaring it.
I guess I do have one more question about the budget. So on that budget we were looking at, we had the 12,660, right? But on our check detail, that I just noticed, I don't know if you guys are seeing it or not.
I'm looking at the report.
So we got the report that's reporting the 12,660, but we have the 12,660 and the 43 right here.
Oh, she's just gonna have to change the date, so it gets into last fiscal year.
Okay, is that what's going on here?
43,000?
Yeah, we're trying to catch all those things right now.
Let me note that on the report. Thanks, Aaron.
I think I'm good now.
That's gotta be back out of there, credited to last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Glad you caught it. Anything else under unfinished business? New business? Next meeting date would be Wednesday, the 10th of June?
Yep.
And that meeting will take place in Tamarack City, if I recall correctly?
Yep.
that we move all our meetings to the Tamarack Fire Hall. Please note that on your calendar. Anything else board wishes to discuss before I ask for a motion to adjourn?
This is Jim Koskanimi. Before you adjourn, were you going to cover the several items that we submitted to you regarding the Mason project, as far as the notice or the resolution for award of the contract that was just bid, the resolution authorizing issuance of bond from Miller Canfield that was sent over to you, and the next Eagle saw, or the next Eagle draw request?
Jim, that's on the board agenda versus the water board agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Quite all right.
I joined.
I appreciate the heads up, the way I've been going through the agenda, fogging up my glasses and everything.
I know, it's
No wonder I'm staying on track here. So thanks, Jim. We'll make sure that, when we get to that, we'll let you know right away. Get your input and we'll take the action necessary. Anything else for the water board? Hearing none, a motion to adjourn is in order.
Motion.
Mr. Jenke, support? Support. Mr. Wareham, all in favor of the motion to adjourn, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We stand adjourned. We will convene the township board meeting in approximately 2 minutes.
What did I do with my township board agenda?
I don't know. You lost it.
I did.
Maybe you didn't like it and you just threw it away.
Krista,
Yeah.
this is Cindy Barth. It's hard to hear the people that aren't at the main table. Is it possible, when the people at the main table could restate what the people stated when they reply to them? Or have the person that's talking maybe come to a chair that's closer, because the mic will seem to pick them up better?
Sure, yeah, we can do that.
And the other thing, is it possible to change the camera view so that I just don't see the back of your chair?
I can try.
Okay, because you could cut it in maybe closer from one side, because we don't need to see like the left side. Thank you. I'm signing off.
Is that better?
It is. Now I just see the table. Before I was seeing you, but I guess
Okay.
that's okay.
Okay.
It's gonna be hard to capture everybody, Krista. We did turn the phone to make sure that the speaker is facing away from the table. That might help.
Can we find out who is over on the right, just so we know who's in the room? That would be near Krista.
You have, Bob Matfolk has joined us and, presented at the last meeting, and, Ron Kokanen is here as well.
Okay, maybe we were seeing Ron's feet.
I used to have her contact info, and I can't find it, so, thank you.
Ron, you ready? Excuse me.
That's a guarantee.
Ron? Ron. Ron, are you ready? Karen?
I got this by mistake.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I'm gonna try to do this without my.
I wanted to make sure I read it before you did.
Log up and get confused.
Mark, after I take roll call, do you wanna say everybody who's in the room and then see if the people on the phone wanna say too, so we get a, or
Roll
no?
call?
Is that not necessary?
No, I think that's absolutely fine, thank you. Please note the time. We'll call the Osceola Township Board meeting to order. Please note the time.
6:38?
Krista, can I ask you to take the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Dickey,
I'm here still.
Mr. Ware,
Still here.
Mr. Huckle,
Here.
Didn't run away yet.
I'm here,
Coming.
and, Ms. Wolf is out.
Those in the room, if you kindly join me, stand and face the flag, and you will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Prior to approving the agenda, could we ask everyone present currently to identify themselves, and then if those of you participating on the phone or via Zoom are comfortable, please identify yourself as well. Thank you. Mark Halpula, Aaron
Jenkins.
Don Wareham,
Ron Colkin, Belgrade Fire Chief.
Krista Gardner.
Bob Mattel.
John Paul Pietro with Traverse Engineering.
thank you very much. Those are the individuals present in the meeting room. Those on the phone or participating via Zoom would like to identify themselves, please do.
Jim
Michael and
Koskin.
Hi, my name is
One at a time, please.
I'm Steve Lee and Vernon Road.
Michael and Linda Heisler, Mason residents.
Cindy Barth,
Go ahead, Cindy. Horace Schmidt, Tamarack City.
Kristen Lortie.
Jim Koskanemi with UP Engineers.
Anyone else?
I think Andy Karanen should be out there. He's hosting the meeting.
Yeah, appreciate it, Jim. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. The next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'd like to make one possible adjustment here. And that is in order to help out Traverse Engineering here. If we could take and move that up because of our,
Do it on the second page too, then.
which one do we wanna move up?
I don't know, on the second one. Traverse, engineering bid.
Yeah.
I think that's
I'm
not
not-
unfinished business.
Yeah, I'm not sure where UP Engineers is on the agenda, but if I could get moved up, I have another commitment shortly.
So can we move, it doesn't surprise me, so I think we might need to move these up. And it also helps, you know, I mean, no need to be in the space any longer than we have to be, so.
I think that's an excellent idea. May I suggest that we move them up
Where would
to, item 5A,
Sure.
right after approval of the minutes? And we
So-
would address both UP Engineering and Travis Engineering at that time?
Sounds good.
I'm sorry, after the minutes, I was listening to,
We're just gonna move up items 10C and 11D to the right between 5 and 6.
okay. And for anyone on the phone, the copy of the agenda is on the website now.
The next one I did. And any other adjustments?
Why are they on here? See, they've also got, or is it just on here twice?
I don't know, I don't.
If you look at the second page, 12C,
I don't have a 12C.
why do I
I don't have
have,
a second page.
I don't have a second page either. I have
I
adjourned.
have adjourned at number 12.
okay, so do I. I don't know what this is.
Okay.
That's
And
a
again-
lot.
That's a heck of a lot.
That's the second page of the, minutes from the.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I see what you did. Okay, it's just underneath
Okay.
my minutes. Cool. Aha, now it makes sense.
It would look like it though.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other additions or changes?
Did you say the garden is being addressed somewhere?
Yep, I would add under reports, item G, community garden.
Aye.
That would be G. I have H as supervisor's report. Sorry, I, excuse me. Not before, but after. Aye. Thank you for the clarification. Item I would be community garden. Anything else?
That'll do.
We have a motion to approve the agenda and support now as amended. Move by Aaron, support.
I'll support it.
All in favor of the agenda for the meeting as amended, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carried. Approval of the minutes from the April 15th meeting.
Table.
Yeah, we get a lot of them.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
It's been moved and supported by Krista, and supported by Ms. Gardner and Mr. Janke to approve the minutes. Any additions, deletions, corrections? April 15th meeting minutes, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item 5A, UP Engineering.
Oh, let's do it.
Jim?
Okay, we have several things to go through, which I mentioned during your water board meeting, which I must have got in a little late. I was thinking you were already into your official board meeting, so I apologize for that. The Mason Sewer Project, we have, the bids were received, so we'll go through the results of those. I'll let Andy Karanen cover those with our recommendation and resolution of award. I'll talk about the next steps after that. And you'll also have a packet from Miller Campfield that I will summarize on their behalf for you for the bond resolution. And then we have the next Eagle draw request, which is draw request number 25 that I'll cover. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and let Andy talk about the bid results for the Mason Sewer Project.
So the Mason Sewer Project bid last Wednesday on May 6th. There were 3 bidders. So we are asking for a board resolution to approve the low bidder for that bid. And if you want, I'll just go ahead and read through the award resolution. It's fairly short. So Osceola Township Resolution number 2020- whatever. Whereas the following bids were received on May 26, 2020 and read aloud at the office of UP Engineers and Architects Incorporated on behalf of the township for the Mason Wastewater System Project. Low bid was MJO Contracting at a total of $924,264.06. Second bid was Hebert Construction with a bid amount of $1,323,211.21. And the third bidder was Bill Seiler Contracting with a bid total of $1,397,226. Going on, whereas the low bidder has been determined by UP Engineers and Architects Incorporated, the engineer, to be qualified, and furthermore, the engineer recommends the contract award to the low bidder, MJO Contracting Incorporated, Hancock, Michigan, in its entirety, including additive A and additive B, with a total bid in the amount of $924,264.06, subject to approval of USDA Rural Development and Michigan Eagle. Now therefore be it resolved, the Osceola Township Board hereby awards the unit price contract to MJO Contracting Incorporated for base bid in the amount of $924,264.06, subject to approval and funding by Rural Development and Michigan Eagle, and furthermore authorizes the township supervisor as the designated representative to sign the necessary financial applications and contract documents required by Rural Development and Michigan Eagle, and authorizes the township supervisor or township clerk to sign the monthly pay applications, draw requests, change orders, and other documents throughout the course of the project construction. Adopted this 13th day of May 2020 by Osceola Township Board by the following vote. So here we ask for a board vote to approve this award resolution.
And just a little input just to make you comfortable on the recommendation. The bid came in just below our engineer's estimate and the budget, and the way the money's working out right now, there's about a little over 5% contingency with the way the funding's going to work out after the bid, now that we have all the real numbers. Rural Development likes to have at least 3%. So we're right in the ballpark. Things look really good, and we can move forward.
Tim, I got one real quick question, and I know I haven't had a chance to talk to you in the office about this or anything on a side note, so I just want to, just real quick, there's, depending on how you do the math, you got 30 to 40% on the table between the low bidder and the next guy.
Yes.
There's quite a bit on the table. I just want to make sure that we're, with only 5% contingency, that we're not getting into something that, you know, I mean,
that's a good question. I'm glad you brought it up. Andy did talk to MJO directly after, and wanted to make sure that they were comfortable with their unit prices and the work that had to be accomplished. And there were some real significant unit price differences. MJO piping costs were quite a bit lower, and then the work at the drain field. The other contractors, personally, I felt blew it on the drain field cost. MJO is a good contractor, very reliable. We've had a lot of really good success, especially over the last 2 to 3 years on projects with them. And they reassured us that they can do this for this price, and they're confident in their price.
Any additional questions before I call for a motion? Any additional comments, Andy or Jim? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve the resolution as presented. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Wareham, is there support for the motion?
I'll second.
We have support. Further discussion or questions on the motion?
just for a quick note before we vote, I'm going to vote on this, I think, because I don't believe it directly affects my pay or anything, so, I think I'm allowed to vote on it, so just so everybody knows.
Aaron, I guess I would recommend that you don't.
Would recommend I don't, Jim? All right, okay, that's fine, I won't, and I just didn't see anything here that was
Yeah.
directly at me,
Right.
but, I'll take your advice.
Related to the same project, there's a pay request for us tonight too. So anything on this project, you'll have
I
to.
definitely won't on that one, but,
Yeah. But it's all one project, so I just assume that we make, keep it
that's
as
fine, Jim.
on the project. Thank you.
Anything else? Additional questions, comments? A roll call vote, please.
Mr. Jenkins.
I'm just gonna abstain then.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Hopewell?
Yes. Motion carries 3-0, 1 abstention, 1 absent.
Okay, the next item is the packet that was emailed to you, the resolution authorizing issuance of the $58,000 2020 capital improvement bond. This is many pages. I am not going to read this. It is standard bond language authorizing, and it sets up the conditions of the bond. Very, very typical as far as spells out different accounts that you're going to need to set up as far as a reserve account, a repair and replacement account, debt retirement accounts, and it has your debt service schedule included. So there's that detail in there. We're moving forward with this bond resolution in order that Miller Canfield then can pursue your qualified status at the state. He needs this in place in order to do that. So the bond process will then be able to move forward.
Jim, was the summary of the bond forwarded to us?
The bond was emailed to you by Steve Mann.
Check. Excuse me for a moment.
Not in the pack.
I don't see it here either.
Whole bunch of guys here. Here's not here, I got Trevor's stuff, but I don't have none.
Yeah, I got the cover stuff up here separate here for the next part here.
Got the clarification on that, right?
Yeah, I went by there today, turned around.
You got the clarification?
Yeah, I talked to him separately.
What he told me yesterday, my grandson's birthday party. The first one, that's 85 dollars. Like so long,
Yeah.
Jim, we do have it. It's in a PDF file, so they're trying to get it out of my computer.
Might have to wait a little longer.
Yeah, let's move on to the third item and come back to this if we may.
Andy?
Sorry about that. I had my phone on mute.
That's all right. We do have it. They're trying to get it out of my computer.
Okay, that's
And,
fine. I'll cover the next item.
That's what I was going to say. Thank you.
Yeah, the Mason Eagle Draw Request number 25, which actually was last month's. Eagle found a discrepancy on the total cost that they had under their grant amount. So we corrected that, and due to the delay, nothing was processed last month. So this is including this month and last month's invoice. For a total of $7,900.92. So there's two invoices that total that amount. And that then, once you approve this, as typical, I get the signed copy and send it off to Eagle for processing, and you get reimbursed.
Are there any questions relative to what is being proposed? This would be a combined March and April billing then?
Correct.
What did you say?
Correct. Correct, yes. Thank you.
Okay, I can, did you vote?
Not yet.
Okay.
Just got the answer to the question that it's for March and April.
Yes, okay.
Just a moment, I'll get Krista and record this.
I had to step away and take care of my dogs. They were starting to fight and make noise.
I was gonna say something, but I let it go.
Any questions of either Jim or Andy? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the invoices presented March and April?
I will make that motion.
Mr. Wareham, is there support?
Okay.
Gardner, any additional questions, comments? Hearing none, a roll call vote, please.
15.
Mr. Wareham.
15,
Yes. You have a lot to do.
Gardner,
15.
yes, and Hopewell.
Yes.
This one especially, because
Okay.
Taking care of that, I think we now have the bond printed.
Okay.
Aaron and Krista, this is Linda Heisler. While you're getting those documents printed, I'm hearing that there is again, Jim had sent this email with paperwork that needed to be completed regarding our qualified status. Am I understanding that correctly?
This is something that's normally done. The bond ordinance is always a part of it, but to start the long form of the qualified status, the state would like to have the bond ordinance passed, which the qualified status, I'm not sure how long that will take, but it is going to add time, as I mentioned to you in our conversation earlier this week, Linda. As far as the next steps for the project, just so everybody knows, is once we get the resolution of award to rural development, there'll be a slew of paperwork coming from rural development with requirements and paperwork to be completed to get to loan closing. Part of this is this bond ordinance, along with the qualified status from the state. So when we get closer to that, and I'm thinking we're probably a month and a half away to 2 months away to be able to close on this project and start construction. But when we get closer to that, we will be having public informational meetings and sharing all the information. Now that we will have a contractor on board, we'll have him there. They'll explain their schedule. We'll go through and have a lot of handouts explaining the whole process as far as being able, where your laterals are gonna go, typical cost for a lateral, contractors' names that you can find to put your laterals in. We'll have rural development information there, maybe even a representative. They offer low-interest loans or grants for people that may not be able to afford the lateral installation. So we'll share a lot of information and go through what to expect. We give each resident a stake so they can put the stake in their yard where they want to put the lateral. It might differ from what we have on the plans, but you might have a garden or something you don't want destroyed or whatever, and to redo. So, we work with the residents very closely, and you'll get introduced to our field representative as well as the contractors. We found this process works very well. We keep the communication open and hope that it goes smooth. It sometimes doesn't, but with the communication, things are nipped in the butt right away. So that's kind of what to look out for here in the next couple of months.
Okay. My question being that slew of paperwork that's going to be coming from rural development and the DEQ to prepare for the loan closing, who is responsible for completing that paperwork? Is it the township office or is it UP Engineering?
The township office, there's obviously things that they have to sign and provide. UP Engineers spearheads the whole process. There's a lot of the paperwork that we actually do for the township and basically slide it in front of them for signature. There will be a few things that the township will have to provide, but we will be there every step of the way and guide it through to make sure it all gets compiled and submitted.
Okay, wonderful. And the reason that I asked this question, Mr. Hulkala, I had talked with you earlier this year. I was concerned when we left last September. You may remember our conversation that the township was to have documents, and Krista, you might remember this also, documents available to UP Engineering by the end of September. And that never happened. Therefore, when I called in January, we didn't have our qualified status, so therefore it didn't go out for bid, and the whole process once again got additionally delayed. So I just want to make sure that there's someone from the township that's responsible, working with UP Engineering to make sure that our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed, and that this paperwork is actually submitted in a timely manner. Would there be someone from the township that would be assigned to that task?
Certainly. No likelihood will fall to me to some degree as supervisor and to others as needed throughout the process.
Okay. And then the other question that I have is, I had also talked to you about this, Mark, gosh, I think it was back in February. Being that this is a project that is now on its 11th year from the time that a letter was received saying that we were in violation, you had talked about getting some numbers together as far as what this project would have cost if it was done in a 4 or 5 year time frame versus an 11-year time frame, and if any of these additional, if there will be any additional expenses to the homeowners because of these excessive delays in the culmination of this process.
I would like to address that. This is Jim.
Okay, Jim.
Through this whole process, the deal that the Osceola Township has received in funding from the state and from the federal government is far beyond any project funding that I've ever seen. There's a 95% grant on this project. That is unheard of. This is the first project in the state's history that both Rural Development and Eagle have funded a project together. Very unusual. It was extremely important to both agencies, especially Eagle, because they were the one pushing this project because of the violations that the township is under. to the point that when the budget did go up this past December, when we reevaluated everything, Eagle has provided an additional $258,000 grant onto the project. The bond itself, the 5% bond at $58,000 will not change at this point. So that is where the payments are coming from, that $58,000. If this project was done 5 years ago, 6 years ago, it would have been all rural development. You would have been looking at a 75% grant and a 25% loan. You could have doubled the payments that the people are paying under this current program.
Okay. And Jim, may I ask, is when you say Eagle, is that the new name for the DEQ?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. So what I'm hearing from you, Jim, is that the homeowners are getting, despite the fact that the project has taken 11 years to get to this point, the homeowners are getting the best deal that would be possible.
Yeah, and if we can close on, if it's possible to close on this before July 1st, they'll also get a 1.375% interest rate over 40 years. Unheard of.
What is that interest rate again?
It's currently at 1.375. I can't remember what the obligation amount was. Andy, do you recall that?
I don't recall.
Okay, so we would need to close this loan by what date to get that interest rate?
Well, let's put it this way. It's July 1st, but I think it's going to stay down. I don't think it's going anywhere because of it's based on the feds. Right now, the interest rate that's on the project is 2%. I think, and they give you the rate at the time of closing if it's lower than the 2%. So I think we're going to actually get a lower interest rate, which will help.
Okay, great. And that's amortized over 40 years, is that correct?
Pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. All right. And then our last question is cost to the homeowner, is that correct? Okay, go ahead, Hem.
Yeah, we're just interested in the cost of the homeowners in this, and that probably was already being answered by you. This low percentage rate over 40 years is added to our monthly bill, correct?
That is included in the projected costs that we've come up with.
Okay. And Jim, what is that projected cost?
I want to say it was like 62. I can't remember.
Okay.
And that's the minimum, correct?
Yeah, it was right around that $62 mark. I don't recall exactly what it was either, but yeah, it was right, very close to $62 for the average user.
All right, and that is just sewer, that's not water, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and Krista, water is, what is it? How much per month? Water, 30? What is water per month, Krista?
66 every 2.
$33 a month.
So $33 a month. So water and sewer minimums would be 95. We're looking at $95 a month. And may I ask, how does that compare to what Tamarack is paying? Don, maybe you can answer that for water and sewer.
That's slightly higher than what we're paying, but we have a ton more people.
Right. And what are you paying per month?
Right. We have higher sewer but lower water than you're gonna have.
The other way around.
Other way around.
What's your total bill, do you know?
I don't, my rate pays, I'm not exactly sure what the total.
I can give you a rough estimate for 2 people in a household. We were averaging right around $100 a month for water, sewer, and the administrative fee on the system.
Yeah, and I wanna say mine was like 85, Linda, a little bit lower, but depends how much water you use, whatever.
Okay.
You're
So
gonna be all right,
ballpark, it'll be comparable for a household of 2, 3 to what we're paying down in Tamarack City. But as Don indicated, your sewer will be slightly higher on average, your water will be lower on average.
Okay.
Because we're still
American water, and you're gonna be, your water comes from.
Okay.
Eagle,
So,
Eagle publishes every few years, a table that shows all the communities that have water and sewer, and they publish their average rates. I don't have it in front of me, but I can tell you at 62, you're not at the top. You're probably a page down or two. There's communities out there that are at $100 just for sewer. And it goes down from there. Of course, there's systems that are paying maybe $20 or $30, but those systems are old and they've never raised their rates, and they're all going to be paying when they have to update their system and they have no money in their coffers to do it and have to go out for bonds.
yeah.
exactly right.
And that $62 does include the loan over the 40 years, correct?
That's correct.
And then, of course, and that's a average amount for two people, a minimum amount. So it won't go lower than 62. It could go higher depending on your usage.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. All right. Do you have any more questions, hon?
Yeah, and that also includes maintenance for the pumping station and everything that goes with it?
Yes, that includes your standard maintenance at the drain field, the pump stations, regular checks on those. There'll be a part-time operator that'll have to be paid. There's what we call a short-lived depreciation of the pumps. There's money that has to be put aside on an annual basis to replace those pumps in 15 years, so you can do it on your own and not have to count on going out and getting money. That's included in those payments as well.
All right. Okay, well, is that it, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for those answers. We greatly appreciate it.
This is Cindy Barth. When is there a projected completion time for this project?
If we can get started in July, the project will be done by the end of the year, which is a good question because the drain field and the pump stations have to be up and running before people can connect. So connection may, depending on the weather and when this finishes up, it might not be practical for people to hook up this year. So it might get pushed off. We've had that happen before because of our short construction season. So that was a good question.
How long do residents have to hook up then?
Right now in the ordinance, it's 90 days from notification of when the system is up and running. And that's why most communities, when we run into these scheduling situations, the townships usually waive that and extend it out until the next spring.
Okay.
Any additional questions of Jim or Andy? Hearing none, thank you very much for your participation. Jim, we have the Steve Mann material from Miller Canfield in front of us. Would you like to highlight again and then take forward action?
Yeah, Steve had a letter with that was very clear on the action that needs to be taken. And before action is taken, I do want to read that paragraph so you're very clear on it. If you didn't print the letter out, I'm assuming you did. But it says, after the resolution is approved, please ask the township clerk to prepare 4 original signed copies of the resolution. Please scan and email 1 signed copy of the resolution to me, which was Steve. These resolutions will be needed at the loan closing and will become part of the official bond transcripts. The only pages which should be completed and signed are pages 1 and 12. Nothing should be completed or signed on pages 8 and 9. Okay, so ignore page 8 and 9. That'll be completed at the loan closing. But I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out. Now, the resolution itself, as I mentioned, is a standard capital improvement bond language that the bond council has put together that meets all the state's requirements for bonding. And in there, it outlines all the conditions as far as accounts that'll need to be set up for debt retirement, accounts set up for a bond reserve that's required, repair and replacement account will also need to be set up. And it has a bond schedule in there that shows what the principal payments are throughout the life of the bond, which goes out to 2041. Let's see here, this capital improvement bond. Actually, 2060. But that's kind of just a quick summary of some of the key things that are in there. And
Everyone has a copy in front of them and has had a chance to look it over. Does anyone have any questions of Jim or Andy? Motion then on the resolution authorizing issuance of a capital improvement bond, the number is 2020. I have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Krista moves. Is there support for the motion?
I'll support it.
Mr. Wareham supports. Is there any additional discussion, questions, comments on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please, on the motion.
Mr. Dinkey?
I don't see a place on here for me to put my abstention, but that's what I'm gonna do.
I think you should still abstain. It's all related to the same project.
Duly noted. Aaron did abstain.
Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Myself, yes, and Mr. Hopewell?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Jim, Andy, anything else?
That's it. I guess once you have those signed, if you could either scan them and email them over as far as the resolution of award, so we can get that going off to rural development, along with the draw request cover page. And then this bond resolution, if you just follow Steve's instructions on the cover page of his letter, and as you email this stuff, if you wouldn't mind, Krista, are you probably going to be involved in some of this as far as copying me on it?
I will, yes.
Thank you. And if you have any
We'll do our
questions,
best to have it done within the next 2 days.
yeah, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call me. I'm not going to be around on Friday, but Andy, I think, is around and will be able to get a hold of me. But so if there's anything that comes up, please call.
We will. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a good night. I have to leave.
Thanks, Jim.
You're welcome.
In addition to that, with the package I sent over, with the engineer's recommendation, which included the award resolution, I included a notice of award that does not need board action, but with the approval of the award resolution, you can sign the notice of award. If you can sign that and over that to me, you can scan and fax that to me.
Trying to take care of everything, Andy, between now and close of your business on Friday.
Sounds good. Yeah, if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Give me a call.
We'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andy, you can't hang up because you'll close the meeting if you do.
No, I'll stick around.
Thanks, gentlemen. Also under 5A, Travis Engineering, John Paul, floor is yours.
You've got 3 minutes.
That's all right. All right, everybody look at these bids, like, Mark gave a copy in the packet. The bids are received. If you want me to go through any, or you got any questions on them at all, or?
Which one, this one, Jan, or what's this one over there?
This
That
is
one you
Travis
had in your
Engineering,
hand.
handout tonight.
Bid, Bill Seiler was the red roll bid at that $84,901. And so I guess if anybody has any questions, if not, what we would be, the motion, I guess, for the board for Mark to sign the board, and then also part of that motion, it could be that he can sign the agreement. Tyler provides the bonds and insurance, so we can get the agreement signed also, so it wouldn't take another meeting to actually sign the agreement. But, so yeah, if there's any questions, I guess this project, so, B&B Contracting that has the project to the work, and so they haven't set up their pre-construction for their contract that's supposed to be coming, and I've been in contact with the county and B&B, so when they set the pre-construction, I'll be there and to assure that Tyler will get this work done before the road gets paved, so we're not obviously new paved road.
This is another one like the last one, I can't believe there's a $1,000.
Well, if you look at it, it's
really good until B&B.
And the top 5 of them are all
Yeah,
right there, but, yeah, I don't know, I mean, they have a ton of work this summer, I guess I can say that, so I don't know what, how that pricing works, but it's pretty straightforward, there's 500 feet of pipe and it's material, it's basically labor and how you're gonna do it, is what it comes down to. That's why they're so tight, if you look at, the 2 through 5 there, 4 bids within 6,000, 3 through 5, you got 3 bids, all $1,000 apart,
Paul, anything else?
Nope, that's all I got, as long as somebody makes that motion, like, or can sign the word and then also sign the agreement once they prepare all the documents that you can sign, so we can.
Looking for a two-part motion then, one to board, the second is to authorize the supervisor to sign documents relative to the agreement. How would you want the?
I'll make the motion exactly like you.
A motion to approve the notice of award and to authorize the supervisor to sign the necessary and appropriate documents connected to the award. Support for the motion.
I'll second.
Support. Is there any further discussion, comment, or question on the motion relative to the 6th Street project in Tamarack City? Hearing none, a roll call vote is in order.
Mr. Jenke,
Hey,
Mr. Wareham,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Hopewell.
Yes. Motion carried. Anything else, council? Or, excuse me, Mr. Peter? You true to your word, sir. 2 minutes and about 45 seconds.
you need that signed right now?
Don Moore,
Can I get these, do you need these signed right now, or do you need me to get them to you in the morning?
whatever works for you.
So,
I'll be around tomorrow.
I will get these to you first thing in the morning. I think there are copies in here.
Yeah.
They're not?
That'll work.
Yeah, I'll get them to you first thing in the morning.
Okay.
Thank you.
God, I didn't even
Thank
hold
you.
it in 3 minutes. Wow, you still got a minute and a half to go.
You warned me, I just took the warning.
We're through item 5A on the agenda. Along you have financial reports for Township, Road Fund, the Mason Wastewater Fund, Tamarack City Water, and Osceola Township Water. If everyone had a chance to look those over, accept the motion to accept the report as presented. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Gardner, do I have a support for the motion? Support. Mr. Jenke? Questions, comments, concerns, input on the financial reports as presented?
The road fund one, is that why there's another one over here? Maybe there was another one over here. Did I see another one? There's a bunch of zeros.
Yeah, I seen that one too.
I don't know if that's,
Relative to revenue or expenditure?
I can't remember what it was, but I know I seen it. It was all zeros, the whole thing was zeros. Right there. Township road
I'm assuming
profit loss,
it's not zeros, but I think it's just something went wrong there.
0%. It's right before your sheet that you just found there with the.
I have it, I gave it to him.
Oh, okay.
That's, one of my few comments, and obviously my other comment is I'm assuming that we'll update this current operating budget to reflect our corrected operating budget that we're, I don't know, I thought we were gonna see it this month, but we're probably gonna have to wait till next month.
It will be available at the June 10th meeting.
Okay.
In answer to that specific question, but, as a footnote to the,
Or is that in here
motion, we
somewhere?
noted that the report contains 0% updated.
The whole page is nothing but zeros.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 'cause I don't,
You want that concern noted in your motion?
no, that's okay, I just,
Oh, are you talking about the percent of budget on page
Percent of the
two?
budget, yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
that's because we haven't spent nor taken anything yet on this.
yeah, I don't, it doesn't, there's not another one though that I see. Like, if you look at the water fund, you know, and then this one, where did that go now? It's just a weird report in comparison to all the other reports, I guess, let's just put it
It
that way.
always was.
I don't know why it's percent when all these other reports are, tell me what's in it. So it goes with this one, I guess, is what we're saying.
I wonder if that just gets slipped in there somehow, we don't randomly see that one.
And I don't think I wanna note it, I just trying to figure out what it means.
We'll follow up on it. Have an answer before the next meeting.
These numbers are not corrected right yet.
No.
You notice, I keep looking at that hydrant number.
Duly noted.
Okay.
Anything else? There is a motion on the floor. All in favor of the motion to accept the reports, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Okay.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 7, approval of payment bills, general fund, road fund, Mason fund, Tamarack City Water, and Township.
So you're gonna fix this Osceola Township water one, correct?
Yes.
Yes,
With the 43,000 on it?
we haven't started the audit yet, so we can, all the
Okay.
points.
Is there a motion to approve payment of the bills for the general fund, road fund, Mason fund, Tamarack City Water, and Osceola Township Water?
So, I see that there's an insurance payment in here, is this insurance payment split up to the correct things, or?
She
did
took the
split it?
time and split everything out.
Okay, alright. So there's like a 10 grand one for the general, and then there must have been, you must have broken
Yep.
some stuff out for the
Yep.
other ones, okay, alright. Good deal.
Do I have a
Move.
motion to accept?
Move.
By Mr. Jenkins, support?
I'll support it.
Motion and support to approve the payments made, aforementioned bills. Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, a roll call, please.
Mr. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mr. Wareham,
Yes.
myself, yes, and Mr. Hopewell.
Yes. Item 8, public comment. Anyone in our audience interested in addressing the board? You're more than welcome to, and have up to 3 minutes for your comments. Should you choose to, would you kindly identify yourself, prior to making comment? And One at a time, please. If there's a couple that wishes to make comment, each individual could have up to 3 minutes. Any public comment?
Hi, this is Kristen. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Mine is more of a request than a comment. I am interested in making a recording of the meeting, and there's an option to make a recording on it, but I would need to have permission from the Osceola, the administrator, which might be UP Engineering, in order to make a recording that I could just have on my computer. Is that possible? I've reached out through the chat window, but I didn't hear back.
I responded and said it probably has to be Andy.
Probably it's public knowledge here, why would you need a recording of it?
I don't know how that works. I wanna check into
I'm not sure the legal aspects of it.
They can.
Typically, we destroy that
They can.
stuff. They could come in here
They
with a
can do
camera.
that. They could actually sit in here and record it?
Yes.
Oh.
Cindy Barth does almost every time.
Oh, yeah, thank you, that's.
Yeah. Can you record? Thank you.
Yeah. Is Andy still out there?
Andy, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Is there any way you can give that permission to her to allow her to download a copy or check mark a box that, I don't know which program, what are we using here?
Yeah,
by the way?
this is Zoom, and when I click on the record, it says, please request recording permission from the meeting host. And so I think there might be a box that Andy could check, just open that up.
Yeah, I
Did you hear
guess,
the question?
I don't know how to do that.
Okay,
Just start pushing buttons and see what happens.
yeah, that's what I do. That's usually my plan. Because it should be, it doesn't allow me to request it directly from you. It just says, please ask the meeting host. So there should be a permission somewhere. And that's all I had. Thanks for checking on that.
I will, look into it here and see if I can, get that, host, permission and, see if that's, if I can relay that to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the township board?
Hey, can I do one more thing since one little ad here?
Please.
You guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
So for example, on the recording, one of the things I wish that would have been, could have been helpful for other people was that explanation that Jim just gave on the Mason project and explaining how there's savings, you know, and that it's mainly paid by others and there's not that homeowner accrual. Like that could be of really good public interest. He did a nice explanation on that. I wish there was more of the affected parties who could hear it. But these recordings can be helpful, and you probably will have, actually you would have this because I see it, I could get a recording after if we can't get the permission opened up. But those are the kinds of things that are nice because people wonder about things like that. And I thought she asked some good questions and Jim had some good responses. So thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody have anything else? If not, should you change your mind, we will make time available at the end of the meeting. Please note the time that public comment was opened and closed. Item 9, reports from. In your packet, you have a report from our assessor. We'll note on her behalf that she intends to begin or resume regular office hours on the 3rd of June. First Wednesday of the month. Time to be determined. I'm anticipating her arrival probably mid-morning for the balance of the morning. So we don't have confirmation of the time yet, but she will be here on the 3rd of June. And there's a written report in your packet. There's also a written report from maintenance department in your packet. Letter C, Dollar Bay Fire Department.
So
holiday fire, we've had, I missed March's meeting, I believe it was. So in April, we had one fire call right here on this very building, which luckily got put out with a 16-ounce bottle of water. And then we had a grass fire up on Upper Foot Mills Road. Burned approximately 3/4 of an acre. Other than that, we've been really lucky. We had no calls in March at all for fire calls.
How much of an acre?
Well, 3/4 of an acre.
Okay.
Just try to walk it off, it's pretty close anyway.
What was on fire here?
The deck?
Porch up on the deck up there. Roy Dahl was watching, well, you know, we got one attendant that smokes, he smokes
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
We've got a little pail out there.
Yeah.
It was plastic, pail.
Yeah, so Roy's watching it, he just, I saw flames, that was it.
So the plastic of the pail started on fire is what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, so you saw the flames,
And then
that's it.
and then it started, the plastic kept burning and burning, and then it started the shack on fire.
Yeah. We got it.
Thank God.
Good thing you carried that 16-ounce bottle of water with you.
Yeah,
Right there, that guy had it.
We're like, I don't have anything to put this out, and so I started rummaging through my truck, and I found some bottles of water that I had in there. It wouldn't go out, we tried to stomp on it, but it was plastic, it wouldn't go out, it was burning plastic, you know?
Wow. Just never know when a 60-ounce bottle of water is gonna come in
Yeah,
handy.
a couple of them in the truck there, and
Anything else, Ron?
Nope, that's it.
Dollar Bay First Responder.
I have no idea why he left here, if he got anything or not.
I didn't see anything.
Oh, I didn't see nothing either. Actually, since this corona started, we've been really quiet. I think people are afraid to call. Really, I think they are.
Tamarack City Fire Department, there's a handout distributed this evening, and Don reminded me that there is pickup in greater Tamarack City area this Saturday, the 16th.
Are they picking up in Dollar Bay too?
No.
What?
You guys got a bird pick, come on.
So hopeful.
Of course, for a price, we'll do anything.
Right?
Tamarack City Utility Board, there are minutes and agenda, last meeting minutes of the previous meeting. There are some highlights from that meeting, if you don't mind, Don, jump in with.
Did you wanna talk about that at all, Ron?
What's that?
Which one?
About our stuff?
What stuff?
Cleanup.
As of right now, we're not gonna be doing it. We have no place to get rid of it.
And that's the thing I wanted to talk
That's the
about.
biggest problem. We got a place to get rid of it.
Some people were talking about seeing if we could use the sand pit over there to bring stuff and burn it sometime. I don't know how we would do it. I don't know how that would work exactly, but I know that was brought up as a potential location to do that. But as of right now, we're not gonna have a cleanup because we got no place to go.
Yeah, the problem we've got with that is, so it's gated.
Yeah, I
Who's
know.
gonna babysit it? And at night when we're not there, you get there in the morning, there's gonna be all kinds of piles. What it's gonna be. You don't need that, to be honest with you. You just don't need that hassle.
I'm just bringing it up and
Yeah.
seeing if, obviously, you know, I already see some people have got bags out there piled on. Yeah, so I'm not sure how we're gonna handle it, but, since we're the ones that pay the department to do it for us, not necessarily a fire department thing, we just pay them to do it for us. We may wanna consider this item.
I did have a subsequent conversation about it, who indicated that there had been a discussion about using the sand pit across from Sandy Bottom. Talked about a need to widen the road and implied that, if it was, brought there, and there was the ability to destroy it, burn it, there would be a need for a fire truck to be. Wondered if there would be any money available during the from the township assist with widening and serviceable. But we did talk about some of the same issues.
There's some side effects here, obviously. You know, you start using it as a dump site, then other people might consider it also a dump site, and
It's a lucky thing we have, ours is so open, that usually when it's open.
I totally understand, but I'm telling you, it's probably gonna be an issue in the township here, so, or in the Dollar Bay community. I don't know.
Especially if you don't have a cleanup, you're just gonna do crap whatever they want.
We don't have the place to dump the metal anymore, so people are gonna have to do that on their own, but, I don't know,
An item for continued discussion.
do we wanna put it further down, or do we wanna?
Well, I think we need to explore some options in the next meeting, or next week. Do what can, or.
I mean, that gate and those rocks hold people out of there pretty good. The only thing that would be like Ron said, if people started throwing stuff in front of the gate because.
Yeah.
Because they can't get in.
They can't get in, they assume it was, available for that use, and they pile up their debris there.
Where did you start?
Down at the wire mill. One of the cascading issues of Julio's demise.
Okay. No longer available.
No longer available to us. So, yeah, the only place that, you know, there's only two sites here locally that we have. We have the one out there by Montreux Road, and we have this dump site here. Good. So,
If we're not going to, then we should notify the people in Dollar Bay as expeditiously as possible.
or come up with another way to, yeah, I mean, I think some options need to be looked at. So maybe we can leave it at that, just say that,
Explore
but
options.
before next meeting, we need to thoroughly explore what our options would be.
We'll be around 4th of July, because we're not having a parade.
We'll leave
I don't
the
know what's
question,
gonna happen.
We have no idea yet.
That's another thing to come up here soon too, so.
That hasn't
Probably
been, I don't think like
If I can pull it back in the
definitely
list.
But I don't think like winter spring has been definitely.
I know they're talking about canceling their park stuff because,
They're,
but,
they're making a decision. That's what it is, I know it was coming up, because our.
I don't necessarily know if what we do, if they jump off a bridge, do we gotta jump too? I'm not sure that's the right choice, but, I think we have to make a decision for our own community.
Yeah, our parade runs, ours is like on this parade.
It all just goes down the line, obviously.
Point of order here, we're talking about reports from the fire department and the water, utility boards and what have you. And we moved into parades, which is a perfectly understandable.
Well, that's still a fire department thing, but, you know, so I guess the first thing that came out of this fire department thing is we need to put that on our future agenda items here, that we need to, and ask to really look into the dump site issue, because I feel like it's gonna be an issue.
We'll follow up on that before the next.
And then we'll worry about the parade stuff when,
Yeah, when that date gets here.
yeah. Okay,
Let's add the parade issue to the June agenda, if I may, since the topic's been
we
raised.
should be decided, we should know what we're gonna do by then.
Yep.
We got a meeting coming up,
And
we'll
we
know
can
what's
discuss
going on
it.
in Tamarack City and possibly in Dollar Bay by then.
They're meeting Monday, so.
All right. Let me jump back in then to our agenda. Tamarack City Utility Board, I mentioned there's handouts, and there were a couple of items that I wanted to highlight that came out of the meeting. One is we continue to have a rather interesting issue around signage and fire hydrants. We thought we had solved the issue with measuring of the hydrants from the sign at all, but there are other variables that we've now been alerted to at the township office around the issue of access. So we're now going to explore that and see what can be done relative to sign near the hydrant on Red Meadow Road. We did elect new officers at our meeting, so leadership for the Tamarack City Water Board is, Klein is chair, Mr. Schmidt is the vice chair, and Mr. Westfall is the secretary. And of course, Mr. Wareham is a member of that, and I represent the township on that. So there's just a few additional items that we're looking into or have taken care of. at the meeting. There was, some discussion on the schedule. There was a question about the November, meeting dates, but that was clarified. Board meeting in November would have normally fallen on Wednesday, which is Veterans Day this year. So the township board meeting, along with the Osceola, back to the 4th, and the Tamarack City Water Board will meet on Monday the 2nd. So that was noted as well. So, an update there. Torch Lake Sewage Authority, moving on, unless there are questions about Tamarack City, there's material in your packet. Kelly Westfall on behalf of the Sewage Authority. Supervisors report, there are a number of items later on in the agenda that I would normally, part of my report. Let me just highlight a couple of things if I may. One we've already addressed is Dollar Bay cleanup, and we'll continue to explore options there. I've already mentioned the assessor's office hours. We are compiling a wish list in the office. Some of the items already mentioned this evening are on that list, such as a better security fence around the water tanks. There was talk back in late March about a forthcoming federal infrastructure bill. There is now an update to that. The House of Representatives will be taking up a $3 trillion federal package that may or may not include infrastructure as early as tomorrow in Washington, according to this afternoon. I know that the administration has been pressing for a standalone or a priority infrastructure bill, part of the package of relief bills to assist during the COVID-19 pandemic. So I think there's still a reason to compile a list of desired projects, talk with engineering firms when applicable and appropriate, and move forward. A complicating factor on some of the work to be done in the township is the pending state budget and the problems that could exist there relative to revenue townships. So I'll touch on that a little bit later. Another item, one last one, and that is the status of the parks. The parks are being utilized. Dale has been out putting garbage bags and cans, cleanup, etc. But it's been discussed in the office that perhaps a formal notice needs to go up in each of our parks, not to close them, but as an informational item slash update on status that, in essence, these parks are not cleaned or sanitized by township personnel. Consequently, people that use them are using them at their own risk, and that we would recommend following guidelines relative to as part of a notice. And Krista's been working on language. I know there's a draft available now, and we're looking to finalize that and whatever. There are some sidebar issues to that as they pertain to sandy bottoms. I was asked, when do we put the buoys out? Probably around the Memorial Day weekend, and then it came to my attention that and I don't have a cost to that.
Really?
The rope is pretty well shot.
I thought that we just bought that like 2 years ago.
I don't know, I saw it last year.
Yeah, my understanding is in pretty rough shape. Ron's confirming what I heard from Dave.
That sucks. I mean, I'm telling you, we literally just bought new ones, so if that rope is gone already, I think we did that with some kind of little grant or something even.
I know we did it, I remember doing it.
Well, I know we did it.
But that's the extent of my report. I'll be amplifying some other items.
Is that something that rope thing, is that something that Dale can do, or do we have to buy a whole new string?
Looking into getting costs, I'll start the discussion, probably see.
I know that I've driven past that park several times in the last few weeks here, and there's probably 5 to 10 cars there regularly, when I've gone by. So it is getting used for sure.
Yeah, well, Tamarack is too. There's 12 kids down there picking up basketball last night.
I've seen a bunch of kids here at our basketball hoops that I haven't seen lately too, because they can't use it.
A lot of them are coming down from Holton because their parks are closed.
Yeah, my boy was up at Holton, got kicked out by the police a couple days ago, so.
There's a lot of kids who don't recognize, but Lisa Feeney was,
Same with parks, does it make sense to proceed with what we're doing?
yes,
I don't have a problem with the language, it sounds fair enough, I don't know, yeah. Just wanna post one on the ice rink door down there, and,
Yeah.
or on the ice rink building, and post one over by the bathroom building at the Sandy Bottoms, and
We've got a board right at the entryway to the parking.
there's one there,
Yeah.
but they
Well,
should put one on
we
it.
should be able
and
to
on
find a
the
place to
plate.
put most places,
Try to get that addressed before the end of next week.
fair enough.
That's all I have for an oral report. Questions? If none, next item is the update on the community garden grant. Krista?
So I just found out last week that we were awarded a $5,000 grant from Portage Health Foundation for our community garden. So we had to, in order to get that, we had to submit a new timeline. Obviously with all the COVID stuff going on, we couldn't just jump in and do it like we had originally proposed in the original grant, but we did do a new timeline and think that it's gonna be probably good enough that we can have people in there distancing and getting things done so that it will be prepared for growing season.
Wonderful,
Yeah, pretty excited.
very nice.
There's a document that needs signature?
Correct, yes.
Do we have to
The grant
approve that?
payment is with you, and, I need to mail that back to them before, Tuesday.
Do we need to pass a motion accepting the grant?
I don't believe so. But,
Pardon?
I don't think so either.
No, I didn't think
That's
so,
why I
but that's why I asked.
yeah.
Take care of that, huh?
Very, very nice work, Krista.
Thank you. Congratulations.
And, it's gonna, take care of the water connection.
Yes, actually, I would.
You're gonna have to keep back the water connection, $2,500, but you gotta put a 15-year,
Correct.
so that's another 25.
Yep. And I was gonna ask if you can just get that ordered. We approved it out of last year's fiscal year budget for the community garden, so, yeah, we got that approved already, so we just get it ordered.
All set?
Yep.
Thank you. Congratulations. Any other questions? Unfinished business. FY 2021 budget status, including salary resolution. It's been referenced or alluded to a couple of times already this evening. I'm going to make a suggestion in lieu of what's taking place referenced earlier, and that would be to not remove it from the table. More about the know more by the end of this month as to what's going to happen with regards to revenue sharing statewide and its impact specifically on Osceola Township.
It sounds like we might get more information also Tuesday, this day after Memorial Day. It sounds like we'll have a little bit of a more clear picture, but you're talking 50% now, where originally it was 20%, state revenue sharing, that we're gonna get slashed by 50%. For 1 to 2 payments, they don't know, obviously they can't
So,
project beyond
just,
that, but,
those are monthly payments, right?
no, they're quarterly.
Quarterly payments,
Yeah.
so 2 quarterly payments,
Mhm.
so that could, I
That's
mean, that's a significant
for us.
part of our budget, I'm not sure how we continue
Right,
at that point.
right.
Shut the offices down,
Well, that's a ton of money.
Go to 3 days a week.
turn the lights off for half the year? Street lights?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It is, it's significant.
I don't know how you,
That's why we need to see what the figures.
we don't have a
are.
budget that's capable of being slashed by 50% for half the year. I don't think they don't understand how some of these small municipalities work, they don't get it, so, there's no fluff there.
Well, this is why phone calls will be made to elected officials at the state level as soon as we've got a clear picture. And if I'm reading.
We'll just tell them that we're not gonna collect taxes during any of that time frame, then we're gonna shut the doors, and we'll see what they say.
NPA is also working
Yeah.
on the township's behalf with,
Yeah.
with the government to try to.
Yeah.
Krista's right, if you'd like to see this, I just printed this, yesterday, webinar on the Department of Treasury's government.
And I think the Township Association's gonna have to play some real hardball here.
They are.
I suspect that they're gonna be waist deep in half of the. Right now, we are facing an unknown revenue sharing, so my suggestion is to leave it tabled until we know more, and then be presenting budgets based on what figures we receive for the June meeting.
Interesting to see what that comes out of, you know.
Under unfinished business, item B was sewer project bid notice. We addressed all of the,
I don't think we need that anymore.
don't have that on the agenda.
Yeah.
Item C, which is Travis Engineering bid, and for the storm drain, that was past that now based on County Road Commission, FEMA project bid status. That was tabled. Do I have a motion to take it off the table?
What are we doing with that?
No, it's just an update from me. I just talked to Kevin Hardy today.
I'll make a motion, take it off the table.
Is there support for the motion?
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. County Road Commission FEMA projects on the table. I talked, for several minutes with Kevin Hardy, this morning. They are addressing issues first in Hubble, haven't marked anything yet in, Osceola Township, particularly in Tamarack City, where much of the work will be done, but there will also be work done, in the Dollar Bay area and Woodside as part of this project. He or his assistant will be getting in touch with me for the township to see where they will be, working and what local projects dovetail into their effort, utilizing local funds to get, hopefully a very good price on work to be completed or necessary in the township, while they have equipment working on site for the FEMA project. But, so we talked for several minutes,
We don't have anything left in the Dollar Bay fund, right?
not as much as, we would like under the circumstances, but it's committed to good projects. Out there.
Yeah, so the only ones you'd be able to look at really would be over the Tamarack side over there probably.
Yeah, you could-
Pave the hill, pave it, time to just do golf course or get it off the list, pave that sucker.
Wait a minute. Golf course road, is that in Osceola Township?
Oh, yeah.
All of it?
Oh, just the part, that hill part
Big
right
part of
there.
it.
I'm in favor of that idea,
I'm not.
only to the Calumet Township line.
I don't know where the Calumet Township line is, how far
It
up that
cuts
hill?
across there.
Is it on the tier, or is
The
it?
thing kinda goes at an angle, the line there.
Mhm.
We got a part of the thing that goes up the falls, it kinda cuts through.
Yeah.
And then it ends up at a golf course, which is part of ours.
Yeah, we have the golf course is actually in Osceola Township, is it not? Yeah.
A lot of those along that aren't, it kinda does one of these wackies.
Yeah.
It's weird.
We're not a straight line township.
We are not.
Jog around a lot.
It's weird, we almost have two separate areas, because it shrinks down and then there's another bulb up there at the top. Okay.
I'll do my best to have more information.
We'll pave the whole town before we do that.
There's lots of stuff, we can use all the money that we have in the North Group. If he's got a road up there, have at her, use that stuff.
It's listed as item F, in reality it's item E, but that's the township attorney, it was tabled at the last meeting.
Yeah, I didn't wanna do that without you here.
Is there a motion to remove it from the
Move.
table? Mr. Jenke, is there support?
I'll support it.
Motion and support to remove it from the table.
Or the-
All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. In your packet is an offer from Kendricks and Bordeaux out of Marquette to assume responsibility of township's legal counsel. There's an hourly rate as part of it and a retainer rate as part of it. Retainer rate, I believe, would purchase up to 2 hours of time monthly from them.
How does it stack up with what our current rates were?
Their rates per hour are higher than, Mr. Davatella's rates were by a considerable amount. Their retainer rate offers a slightly better rate, but there are some questions around that that I think need clarification. For example, purchasing 2 hours of monthly, not utilizing 2 hours monthly, does the additional time roll
I want
forward?
some rollover minutes.
That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So there are a few questions that I need to get clarified. There's also, on a blight ordinance in Tamarack City, a hearing that they would be willing to represent us at, whether we approve this or not, coming up on the 24th, if we wanted to be represented in court.
Let me ask you something,
Please.
do we have a lot of other choices?
There aren't a lot of options locally that I'm aware of. There are some attorneys in the general area,
I mean, one of the nice things would be able to just go over there to his office, you know, and obviously this is that option. So,
Yeah, they're also looking, if you had a chance to peruse it at all, a mileage rate, et
I was
cetera.
gonna say, now, if you gotta pay to come up to Houghton County to go to court, you're gonna be starting to pay for travel time and all this other stuff, you know,
The
or,
federal rate, which is 58 cents a mile. There are some costs associated with it that need clarification.
Nick really left a hole here, I feel like, and I wonder if, after a while, we can just accept this now and then hope that somebody fills that hole eventually? I don't know. The problem is all he's gonna, this company's gonna have all our stuff, right, or?
They would get it. Not sure that some files haven't already been forwarded in anticipation of, and I don't wanna speak for Nick, but, the way he was alerted to things that are affecting the township. They do represent one other township in Holton County, that's Stanton Township. Had a lengthy conversation with the supervisor there, and he spoke very favorably. All their questions got answered, all their issues were quite professional, but did not disagree with my comment that they were a little more expensive than our immediate past legal counsel.
How long of a contract do they want?
1 year, if it's a retainer, month to month, or I think would be an arrangement, but, I think there are still a few questions that need clarification. We could approve it pending resolution of the questions, we could approve it outright and get the questions answered and make a decision in June. Board's preference.
I think they're legit questions, you need to ask them.
It's pretty tough to go with those
Leaving
legal
ourselves
counsel.
unprotected for another month.
They are willing to represent us on an hourly basis as well until I'm drawing that from my conversation with Pat. We could set aside a few dollars for an hourly rate to get us through May and then make a decision in June. They appear to be quite flexible.
Did we find out if we can do like teleconferencing with them or Zoom?
They did indicate that that was possible, and they did indicate that that might be the way they would proceed to represent us at the hearing on the 24th.
Okay.
So
that would save us some money.
Yeah, they would teleconference it. The one thing that I wasn't used to, but it's standard practice, they bill in minutes if you're on an hourly contract, so.
Goody.
Better talk fast.
This sounds like so much fun.
I know some that do it by the minute, so.
I think UP Engineering does it by the 10th of an hour.
That would be, yeah, that's.
Yeah, that is.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
I'm receptive to whatever the board would like to do. As I said, I believe they will represent us without an agreement in place, so we see clarification on the question, should we want them.
I think we got a lot of legal stuff coming up here, especially with the projects getting going here, that I don't see a lot of other choices either. I've kind of bumped around on this already. My opinion is to just go with them. You guys can come, if you guys can weigh in.
We've discussed this and I don't think there's anybody locally that has been, it's like half a dozen in one, six in the other. You're either paying doesn't township stuff to learn the stuff, so you're paying extra money for them to get caught up on what they need to, or you pay more for somebody who already knows and it takes time.
I mean,
You know what I
I'd be willing to, I agree with you. You're absolutely right. I mean, so I'd be willing to go down for a year on this, and then if somebody comes along and fills the hole that Nick left, we can entertain. We should keep our eye out, I guess is what I'm saying, you know.
Makes sense.
There's no out of
I don't know
this.
if I wanna just keep revisiting this over and over again. I think we're gonna need to get
There's
on.
no out of this in a year. We're tied for that year, there's no out.
Well, I think if we're going hourly rate, that speaks for itself. If we're
Right.
going retainer, I think we need clarification on whether unused time rolls forward.
You can ask that question. The nice thing about retainer is if you got them on retainer, they won't take a case against you, and they won't, and they're there for you if you need them.
Yep, exactly.
You know, I mean, if you got them on retainer and you say, hey, we got a problem here, they're not gonna say, oh, I can't take that right now, you know?
May I suggest one other alternative? 2 hours a month equals 24 hours annually. That we use the 2 hours as a guide, because just as you implied, Aaron, there's gonna be clarification on some of the contracts and issues that we're speculating, and we would not want to go past our 2 hours in a month and then get an hourly rate higher for.
So, is it in here somewhere? What do we have budgeted for the year on,
This is comparable to our budget amount, it's a little over 5,000, is it not?
I thought it was closer to 6, but.
Yeah, a little over 5, and this would not come to quite that much. It's under our
No, this
budget.
is 5,000.
so it's within our budget, as long as we don't do some major extra stuff.
That's a big plus if it's under there. I mean, that's,
And I would entertain a motion, given the discussion, to accept their offer on our retainer.
can we make it a little flexible and do that, but if some of your questions before we go ahead and say yes, you ask those questions, and if you don't like the responses,
I can ask the questions as early as this week.
that's what I mean.
I'm good with, if you like, if you're not put out by the answers that they give you,
Right,
then
then go with,
it.
you don't need another month.
I'm not making it even conditional that they have to roll over minutes.
Okay.
I'm just saying that if you got a not so fuzzy feeling, then bail
Bring
out.
it back.
Bail
Well,
out,
they
yeah.
certainly left a favorable impression in our conversations, and Mark Anderson, who I know for years and respect, spoke very highly of them. And,
So the motion is pending.
yeah, just need to get all the questions answered.
5275 is what we have budgeted, so that falls within.
I'm gonna second that motion, so.
So there's a motion to accept it on retainer and support for the motion.
Who
I don't
made
talk
it,
about
Don?
this every
Don made it, Aaron supported, I'm sorry,
That's okay.
Mr. Wareham and Mr. Jenkins.
One of those things.
I don't feel like we're gonna get away with the next 6 months without having to have some legal time here, so I just don't see that happening. I feel like we're gonna use our hours, I guess.
So an effective start date of Monday, which would be the 18th, run through the balance of the fiscal.
This guy also, they also came recommended from Nick.
Nick is the one that alerted me to them and talked with them. They contacted me and asked if they could make an offer.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
any additional questions, comments, concerns about the motion to accept the offer on retainer? Hearing on roll call vote, please.
Mr. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mr. Wareham,
Yes.
yes, Mr. Hopewell.
Yes. Thank you. G, finalized FY 20.
There it is again.
20, budget. And what I wrote down based on conversation and even prior to was still being done.
All right.
So the hope is to have all of this done by our June 10th meeting in
Okay.
Tamarack City.
Okay.
My apologies for
There
that.
are, in the packet though, Tracy did do, the general fund and the Osceola water with her proposed changes, which corrects everything.
I didn't
That
see
we
that.
discussed.
I was
It's
looking
2
for it.
pages and it's kind of tucked in the back.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Look at the top, it's April 2019, March 2020, and it's just two single pages.
Oh, boy.
And it is complete, I mean,
Okay.
she's got it all.
Yeah, just a footnote, she did present one for Tamarack City
You have
that we reviewed at our last meeting, if I recall correctly, Don, but it was incomplete.
Okay.
You and I talked about bringing revenues up to speed and what have you,
Right, right.
and having those for,
And then
For
in
June.
addition to that, the top doesn't equal the bottom,
Yep.
so it's not complete in that respect.
that's what I'm suggesting, that what you have are updated versions of what work has been done, but there's still a little more work.
So we're
to be
not
done.
there yet.
We're not quite there yet, but we
I
will
see
be there
it,
by
I have
June.
it, and, but we're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
The audit is gonna start by month end, I would imagine she'll be here by month end, so we need to know everything by the time she's
Yeah.
done.
And her hydrant number's still.
Yeah, that's part of the tweaking we still need to do.
Alright, for Osceola?
Well, for Tamarack. Because they still include the Calumet hydrants.
It's the township budget.
Yeah.
Oh, the current year.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, let me
If
make
you
a
just ignore it long enough, you'll forget.
It'll go, oh, I won't.
Trust us, it won't, it comes up. But it's our expectation to have these finalized to begin the audit and have them in draft for the auditors and final versions for your approval in June. Item H, wastewater emergency response plan. I'm asking you to go all the way back to last fall. Mr. Sira and others, I believe, Mr. Kiernan were here and presented an emergency response plan.
I thought we approved that thing.
I'm trying to recall, we either approved it conditionally or did not approve it because there were a couple of things that I had intended to add. And I dug around and found it. And the only thing, as it turned out, I was adding were some updated phone numbers. But it did not change the text of the plan.
I don't think that mattered. I thought that was allowed to be done. I'm pretty sure if you go back and
We couldn't
find it in the minutes or what?
Well,
I couldn't find it, I didn't look.
I'm positive we voted that in. He came right in and he did it. And he said, I recommend that we get this done, and we did it, you know? I don't know what day that was, though.
May I suggest that, given that, can we affirm our approval with another motion to get into a new fiscal year? And that way, if we cannot locate in the minutes or for some reason did not accurately record it, we do have a motion to approve the emergency response plan for the Mason Sewer Project.
Okay. Motion to,
Again, approve the wastewater emergency.
yeah, I was trying to figure out, I guess again, approve sounds fine, yeah, it's for an updated fiscal year or something like that.
Fiscal 2021. And is there support for Mr. Jenke's motion?
I'll support it.
Support. Any additional discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the wastewater emergency response plan for the project 2021, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you. New business.
Well, we're not thinking of our own business. So I have to start replacing services 5 a year. So my question was, can we supply the ditch going into the houses and require the homeowner to fill up the ditch and topsoil and whatever? So all we're required to do is to put the water line into the house.
It's all in Dollar Bay, right?
You know, we're talking about Dollar Bay.
I think most of that situation's in Dollar Bay, is it not?
I think there's 100 some services that you had.
There's 105, I think my count was.
105 services that need to be done.
And he had so many a year, and it's gonna cost so much money a year, and I forgot all the numbers already, but
We have to
25,000 a
do
year?
5 a year and.
Right.
For most of the past
Obligation.
3 or 4 years, we've been doing, somewhere in that neighborhood, if not more. When we did, when it had the highway project, we did more that year, you know? But, yeah.
Did we budget that? Part of
Yeah,
it,
we
budgeted that,
raised,
didn't we? We even raised it.
yeah, but we're probably at the point where right now, we're gonna have to raise it again in order to,
It ain't enough, I can tell you that.
we're probably gonna have to bump to 35 eventually here.
It's hard to keep bumping when we're gonna be cut.
I'm just saying.
Oh, I know.
Our budget right now for last year was, I still don't even know where it's at. It was scary, not good.
For a new lawyer.
It was scary, not good. A $2 raise wouldn't surprise me. If you really wanted to get technical about it, we probably should sit down and actually calc out what the raise should be. Instead of just doing it off the top of our head, but.
Bob, can you wait till the 10th of June? For an answer? And agenda item then for the 10th of June meeting. That just amplifies the point, how the budget's gone up so much. Anything else, Bob?
Hard to really go anywhere without that.
I mean,
I know
the
that
problem is, half
the
the stuff has to be done, so what do you do?
the DV water budget well, you have to raise rates to cover the cost. And I know that our budget last year was, I think it was short, so it's not really close.
Yeah, I beat up it pretty good last year.
There may be a fund balance, definitive balance.
No,
Okay,
yeah, that's why I'm
calling for raise.
and it just depends on what we have to do this year. I know you're we got a, like you said, you got a broken hydrant out there on the corner over there, and, we're talking about putting in another water line, and, you know, some of that meeting came up with that pavement thing, but, you know, we're just, there's more than services to do, is what I'm saying.
One of the main items over there is on, that water line that's on, First Street over there, it's a 2-inch line. And it's nothing but a headache every time I deal with that. In order to isolate that leak that we had to the stone farm, I had to shut off 6 valves. And if you have to do that in the winter time, it's really ugly. Really ugly.
Especially two of them are burning because I make snowbanks.
One of these days here, I'd like to see I need to grab a copy of the water map, and I'm gonna scan it and take a better look at it, and then maybe sit down with you a little bit on some of this stuff.
Is
But
that
another-
Bob speaking? Could he speak up, please? It's hard to hear. I don't know if the microphone goes to that area of his room. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bob, anything else on the service line access and moving the issue to the June 10th meeting to look at the financing of, making a decision on who pays for the, covering of the service line? Okay. Making sure we capture it accurately for the agenda. Anything else, Bob? Thank you. Through unfinished business, new business. There is information in your packet from Brookala and Negro about an engagement letter, and then the necessary documentation that needs approval relative to the audit they're going to be performing for us, water system supply for Tamarack, and water supply for the bond for Tamarack. Should be in your packet. We need a motion to approve that engagement letter, and then you have the detail.
Those monies are already designated in the budget, are they not, in the water budget?
I think they're just looking for updated information here,
Right, yeah.
and then they're saying that we need to sign this letter,
Sign the letter and the engagement.
and then just fill in some lines.
This is just so that they can reach out to those entities to get the
Correct.
information they need for access to the audit.
Okay.
Is your formal board action required that?
No, I've
I
already.
apologize,
sent
I had noted as an
already.
action item on mine, thinking that we needed to approve this. I will simply sign these and take care of
Okay.
them. Thank you. B, under new business, Karen Ham has a request in for graduation banners at the ballpark. And in addition to that, you have in your packet a request from, Mrs. Norland relative to using the parking area at the ballpark for a graduation drive-by ceremony. One has to do with flags or banners. They were hopeful of stringing them somewhere up in town where they would be visible. They approached the power company but found that that was not feasible. So they're asking, or Karen is, if they could hang the 2x4 flags on the backstop at the ball field.
With zip ties.
Pardon?
With zip ties, of course.
With zip ties, yep. And then remove them at the appropriate time, and I believe they would then go to graduate. In addition, there's a request that came in just a short time ago to have a graduation ceremony that would be a drive-through ceremony. they would use the parking area and the barbecue pit, they would some type of stage area that the individual graduates would get out of their automobile, as I understand it, walk across the stage, get their diploma, go back to their car. Part of that request also includes parking on the ball field, which raises a different question. But the parking area, the parking lot, and what would be, I guess, the side of the ball field along the barbecue pit, that dirt pile has been leveled and there's quite a bit of room in there for parking as well.
I'm not sure that ball field is designed, and that entrance is designed to have a bunch of people use go in and out of there like it's a drive-through. I don't feel like that's set up to be able to do that.
Parking lot's not a problem, I don't think, but.
Yeah, I'm not sure. As much as I have a son that's graduating and he's in this and valedictorian, he's not gonna be able to do a speech and whatever else, you know, so.
Well, they're hopeful. I guess part of that is.
I don't know what's gonna happen here, but I hate to rain on their parade. I don't think the ball field is the place to drive around on, I guess.
Are they driving around or are you just going in and?
Well, I think because of the COVID-19 restrictions, there's overflow from the parking area. They were wondering if they could park on the ball field itself.
It says park on the ball field itself.
So,
I guess, why can't you park in the parking lot, and if they wanna park a block away, walk, and just don't get close to anybody?
It's not a big class.
Apparently, they're getting requests from all over the place to participate, other family members and whatever. My thought was consistent with what the comments are. The ball field is really designed to be used as a baseball field. And if there's a heavy rain, let's say a day or two before the event, that field could be soft and could end up getting rutted in that circumstance. The parking area is designed for vehicles to park in. So my thought was, if I may offer an opinion, that the banners are a wonderful idea, and having a graduation.
They can hang them off the backstop, or they can put them on that.
Hang them from,
Hang them from.
barbecue pit.
You can hang them on the barbecue pit. They can have, there's a big table out there that we use for the, for one of our races.
The banners aren't,
No.
and if you just use the parking lot, anybody else that wants to do it, you get on the vehicle.
I just don't know how you get, I look at the logistics of bringing a vehicles in and out of there and all the motions that have to happen just to do one, much less
Well,
20.
People wanted a place to park. I'm sure Quincy's will park in there, and Banfield's they can park over there too, because.
You don't think they can get in the parking lot by the ball field, you know?
Well, they could,
What do you mean?
it's overflow, I think, what they're concerned about.
Hey, but what I'm talking about is if you open up the gates
Right.
and you just start letting,
Oh, no.
you know, a bunch of cars go in there, I don't understand, you know, you gotta go in, you park,
Yeah,
and
you gotta come out.
then you gotta come out, you gotta turn and around, and you're basically, you know, and you got a one-way gate here, you know, it's not really designed for that kind of traffic, you know, I don't know how that works without tearing things up.
You're talking the ball field itself, right?
I don't think they're talking the ball field, I think they wanna park on the ball field.
That's what they want, that's the suggestion.
They could use
the parking
parking
area
lots. Is
and
there
the
not a parking
overflow
lot
will go
there?
onto the ball field.
Or is there not?
Well, I was under the impression that they were trying to have their, like you said, they're gonna try to have their thing where people would just park in their cars and listen to the
Radio.
the radio.
But they can't do that, there's no parking lot big enough that they can park there and walk over there? That's where I'm confused.
They're all
What
sitting
they
in
would
their
do would be
car.
a drive-by, they would park their vehicles in the parking area, there would be a stage type thing out by the barbecue pit, there would be a graduation ceremony. If there are too many vehicles for the parking lot to accommodate, they wondered if they could park in the ball field.
No overflow.
My suggestion is that
Maybe utilize local surrounding
surrounding areas, like
parking lots, the road, whatever.
Quincy's, if they overflow, could park in there, bring lawn chairs and maintain social distancing.
They can park down here and walk, I mean, it's just, they'll find a way to.
Maybe we could let them put Main Street as one way or something, and we could put angle parking down the road or something like that, and I don't know.
Or park on the roadway for, depending on how many attend.
Could we get the fire department to block off the road like you do for the street dance, just for that?
I'm
And they
sure
can
we
park
could do
there.
something along that line.
I mean,
Close it down for a parade in the fourth.
Yeah, I don't see why we couldn't.
depending on what the restrictions are, I mean, there was a church in Houghton that tried to have a or, well, they did have a drive-up church service, but, I mean, they were pretty strict with people, you know, like you're saying, get out and,
Yeah.
and bring lawn chairs. I don't think they'd let them do that. They're gonna allow a gathering of this size, they're gonna say you have to stay in your car, you have to keep your windows up and, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Can I ask for a motion to approve the banners and parking lot for the graduation? Combine the questions.
Oh, good.
So, Aaron, are you making the motion to approve?
I mean, they can use the ball field, they just can't park cars on it, I guess is. I'll make that motion.
A motion to, approve hanging the banners, backstop, and a motion to allow the school parking area and the barbecue for a drive-by or drive-up graduation ceremony, but not to permit parking on the ball field itself.
Correct.
If
You want to, yeah, if you want to, I'm sure we can talk to the fire department too, try to see if we can help out and
Okay.
I would
close
like
off the, maybe even go so far as to, I mean, it's closed anyways, partially anyways, so the tracks and the, you know, we could talk to Quincy's and, you know, there's things that could happen here, you know, close off.
I'll second
We will offer, I have a second for the motion.
Yeah.
Any further discussion on the motion, and I will include as a suggestion to the supervisor that we explore other options with them should the motion.
To increase the parking.
System. Any further comment, question? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item C, Pat Zimnick offer. In your packet, you have 3 offers from Mr. Zimnick to fill the 2 holes, one gaping and one, companion hole, by the, park area in the park property in Tamarack City. One is to dump pretty much what was in there before and wash out into Torch Lake with runoff. That's the low end. The middle one would aggregate, mine rock and whatever, and perhaps some kind of a liner. And then it was said to me on the phone, a solution that won't require any further activity, but it is a bit more expensive. That's the third option. But something has to be done. We've got, water system barrels down there partitioning off the area right now.
I don't see us having the money for the third option,
I'm okay with 1 and 2,
I'm not with one at all.
3, you're not with 1?
No, that's.
I'm assuming he's gonna combine that, because you're not just gonna put mine rock.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. I'm sorry.
Right, yeah, but number 1 is just dirt.
Yeah, I'm feeling like you have to do 2. One alone is not good enough, you gotta do 2 also.
Right, number 1, he's not,
Right, so you.
number 2 is both of them, I think. He's gonna put filter cloth.
Oh, yeah, and fill with
Material-
materials on site, okay, so number 2, that's what we wanna do, is number 2. I don't know what this hourly rate price is, but that's
Well,
different.
that's on the number 3 job, and that's,
Number
Well,
3 is,
for 3 options.
number 3 is overkill, it's
obviously,
permanent.
the concrete thing would, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, it's a big concrete wall, we filled it in last year, 2 years ago. And it got undermined from something.
But I
don't know
feel
what.
like the mine rock and the filter cloth is a pretty good,
That's a pretty good option.
Do I have a motion to accept any one of the offers from Mr. Zimmer?
I'll make a motion to accept the offer number.
A motion to accept offer number 2, the mine rock option. Is there support for the motion?
Sure.
Mr. Janke. Any further discussion? Additions to the motion? Hearing none, roll call vote please on the motion.
Mr. Zinke,
Yes.
Mr. Wareham.
Yes.
Oh, yes, and Mr. Hopewell.
Yes. Thank you. Next item, UP Engineering Resolution. I think we've taken care of all of that. There is item E. There's an offer from the Road Commission to chloride down on the dirt roads.
So what are we talking here, which road, which location?
I have a couple of calls, from the north end and the northwest portion of the township, particularly Okarainen Road.
So they actually have money in their road budget, do they not?
They have a ton, I mean, and they're never
We
gonna
haven't
use
used
it.
any.
Sounds like that's a no-brainer then.
So my thought was that well, there's three options. One would be to pay it entirely out of funds, depending on the cost. The other would be to partner with the residents. The third one would be to partner with the other townships to see if they're interested. Because the Oak Road has a portion that is in Calumet Township, some of it is also in Franklin Township.
I guess you're more than welcome to check with the adjacent townships to see if they wanna jump in, but do we get a better rate because of it?
We get a lesser rate than the individual homeowners would get, so.
But I mean, if we're doing multiple homes,
My assumption is that we would, put the oil or chloride down only on that portion that is in Osceola Township.
correct, but it's just gonna be like 50-foot swatches in front of each driveway, is all that's gonna be. Is that not what we're talking here?
I'm getting more detail from Kevin Hardy.
I think it's just an oil layer on the whole road,
That's not what I'm used to.
that's what I've seen.
When I used to live up on Forsman Road, it was like a 50-foot swatch in front of each driveway.
Would you like me to follow up with the
Yeah,
homeowners,
find out what
because
the
they were
cost is.
looking for any kind of
That's what I
assistance
used to
from
The
the
old golf course road, they used to oil the whole road, and you didn't
Would
get
it,
that.
would it be okay if I made a quick comment here?
Who's speaking, please?
My name is Steve Pelly. Mark, you and I spoke. I live on Oikarainen Road. Oikarainen is a unique road in that we're at the intersection of three townships. Calumet Township, Osceola Township, and Franklin Township. Franklin Township offers the road oiling for their portion of the road, for their residents that are on the road. I think they do approximately 100 foot right in front of each resident for Franklin Township.
Pretty good spot.
The road, the portion of Oikarainen that goes through Calumet Township, and the road is split into Osceola Township, we would be talking about, I think it's 6 residences on Oikarainen that would be covered under Osceola Township. The resident cost would be $86 for a 12-foot by 100-foot section. I believe it's less if the township is able to secure that. So you're talking.
That road only 12 feet wide?
No, I'm saying if you used half of the road, because half of the road is in Osceola, and I believe the other half of the road is in Calumet.
Okay, I got what you're saying. Okay.
Thanks, Steve,
As long as it's little partly, I got it. I got you now. Okay.
I was wondering about two vehicles.
How is that gonna work? Yeah, okay, I got you. Okay, continue.
So if it was approved for half of the road, which is in Osceola, in front of each of the residents that is in that section, I think we would be looking at under $500 in total cost. So just to kind of
hold on here. So let me just quickly get this straight here. We're talking 6 residents that are actually in our township, though, are we not?
That's correct. It might be 7, but it's 6 or 7.
So my take on that is, if the resident is in our township and he's paying taxes to our township, that I'm not even worried about the half the road thing.
No,
Because that resident is in our township.
yes.
So I'd be ecstatic if they wanna jump in and join, but they're probably not collecting, there's a high possibility, unless you have property on both sides of the road, which some farmers do, some people do, you know. My immediate take would be, if we got 7 residences that are in our township, then we should cover those residences completely.
Oh, completely, we got the money in the millage.
They're already paying the money.
They're paying,
They're paying for that, so they should get it.
Yes, I agree.
I agree.
So,
And in answer to Steve's comment, we do get a better rate coming from the township than individual property owners.
so I mean, if we got 6 or 7, and hey, if you wanna talk to the adjacent townships and they wanna join in, that's more power, and maybe there's residences on their side that can get done too, but I think our residents should get done.
carries their money a little farther then, and we
Yeah.
do something else.
That's why I wanna talk to the township
Cover our
supervisors,
residents,
because
yeah.
if they partner with us, more of the road could
Yeah.
possibly be
Sure.
done. If
Yeah.
we're willing to cover the people that live in our township.
Yeah.
Typically,
Makes
for,
perfect
like
sense.
I'm saying though, it's usually 100-foot swaths right in front of their driveway, and I'm saying if we got 7, we should do our 7. Regardless of what anybody else says.
Yeah, is that a motion, sir?
That's a motion, to do our 7, no matter what anybody else says.
Okay. Do I have support for Mr. Jenke's
I'll
motion?
second.
Krista, Ms. Gardner, thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Jenke,
Yes.
Mr. Wareham,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Hopewell,
Yes,
thank you.
we'll look into it immediately. I told Kevin I'd call him back this week on the decision on the oiling. He needs to know by the end of the month. Thanks, Steve.
Yes,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much.
You're welcome. Item F, OPG's offer for a new copier. We have issues.
Our office is gonna be closed anyway, so I don't know why we need a copy machine. We don't have enough money to operate anymore. How much do they want? What's the offer?
Well, the gold one is in black and white, pretty good copier, not a refurbished, is a little over $1,000. I'm assuming it comes with at least a 1-year warranty.
Those are pretty cheap prices.
Yeah, they are.
And it will meet our
The
needs
copiers that
going
I
on.
have at work, that's a drop in the bucket, so I don't know, are we sure this is gonna meet our needs? Are we good with this?
I have not looked into this at all.
Looking briefly at the specs, I think so. I don't wanna say there's a profound sense of urgency, but not too long ago, pieces fell out of the existing copy. So we're on borrowed time right now, and maintenance and upkeep of a copier that is probably more than a half a decade old. They begin to lose their capability. I don't know the number on the machine, but we have had some issues.
Are we concerned about having a company that can service us, or are we more concerned at getting a better price on a piece of?
What about Sands? Did you look at Sands?
That's who we went through.
That is off.
They're
the
OPG
Oh, that's
now.
them now?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Well, I didn't realize they combined.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I think they purchased the company, did they
Oh,
not?
Mhm.
okay.
Did OPG purchase Sains, or Sains purchased OPG? So whatchamacallit, that used to work at Coach, used to work for Sains, is not, or they still have Sains out there also?
I believe, the last time I was aware, they had all the same people,
Okay,
but
Steve still works one.
that's what I was wondering. I still seen the red van the other day, I didn't know if it had a different paint job on it, but.
I think that's a valid question. We could probably find a slightly cheaper, significantly cheaper. Find it locally, we got service immediately.
I have no problem with getting the service, I can tell you that at my work,
Lifesaver.
having them available to bring you a temp copier sometimes if you have to, or whatever might be the case, is invaluable sometimes.
So does one of these do more than the other? I'm not
The one's
a
color,
copier person.
I don't think we need color, do we? Oh,
I mean, can you print, and is there anybody here that has a color printer that prints in color?
these things are older than the hills.
Does it scan, it'll scan and everything for you, but it'll scan in color, right?
Yes,
It'll still scan in
it's
color.
like, yeah, it's photographic, I mean, it's
Yeah, so,
It just won't print in color.
correct.
That doesn't make sense.
I don't know, our two biggest copiers are black and white at work.
It's very rare that we need something in color. Most of the time, if we need it in color, we've just sent it.
I think we should stick with that
I'm not,
mode.
so you're telling me if you put a color copy on there, it's gonna copy in color?
No, it's
No,
gonna
it'll
scan in color.
Scan the.
So like if you were to scan to a
black
PDF,
and white.
And
it'll
then you
still
can
come to a
attach it to
PDF
like
color.
an email or
But it's
something.
not gonna print it.
No, it'll print
Okay.
it black and white.
It's $300 difference, 200 and something dollars difference.
It's also faster, the less expensive one, because it's not, if I recall correctly, it prints
Mhm.
more copies per minute.
Quite a bit, almost double.
Yeah.
It looks to be a very functional, above basic printer that we get a lot of years out of.
Okay, I'll make a motion to buy that one.
With a motion from Mr. Worm that we buy the, printer not color.
Yeah, the M2540 DW.
Thank you. Is there support for the motion? Support from Mr. Jenke. Further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Jenke,
Yes.
Mr. Wareham,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Hopla.
Yes. Thank you. Anything else come before the board this evening?
One question,
Please.
whatever happened with the street light up north?
Just ask over there. Just ask. I got asked. The last time I checked, it's just about 4 weeks ago. It is still on and burning.
Okay,
Attempts to reach the power company are successful relative to reaching. It is the follow-up and the action that has been not forthcoming since the fall of 19. But I continue my efforts. It's on my list. I make a call on average once a month down to the service department in Marquette right now.
okay.
They promised to get back to me. I did not make a call in April for a number of reasons. But
Did
thank
you ever find out if, we're gonna get a reduced rate for our,
I'm asking that question too, and they're not getting back to me on
That
that one.
LED?
The LEDs in Tamarack City and elsewhere, there is a slight reduction from what we budgeted relative to the light bill, but it isn't, I think,
considering they're supposed to use 1/10 of the energy, I'm wondering if, we're gonna see any, since we've been asking about LEDs since we shut these lights off, at least I have been. I'd like to see some, I don't know,
I
whatever.
will add it to my list again. I'll follow
Yeah.
up. I've done that once before. I'll do it again. We'll ask. Yeah, we have had complaints about the LEDs and people wanting them to be some way, shape, blocked, partially blocked, directed, and what have you. But again, they haven't gotten back to me on that one either, so. But in deference to the people I do speak to, they're very receptive, they listen, they tell me someone will get back in touch with me, and I thank them, and then I wait. Is there anyone with us that would like to take advantage of public comment at the end of the meeting before I call for a motion to adjourn?
Steve, this is Cindy Barth. Did you have a question about wanting the road dust application repeated because your feed cut out?
I'm sorry?
The road dust, the question was just gonna be whether or not I think you're asking what I'm thinking, the question was just whether or not there's gonna be a split between the townships or not, but we've determined that even without the split, we're gonna take care of our residents, and within the township. So, it's moot, I think.
Does that
Thank
help,
you.
Cindy? You're welcome.
I have something.
Please?
This is Kristen, and I was wondering if someone knows when the property tax amounts are going to be finalized for the summer taxes.
Summer taxes go out, first week of July, so I'll be starting to work on it once Laura, our assessor, updates her. Outside of that, sometime in the month of June. I don't have an exact date yet.
But you have to do some calculations yet to get the amounts, is that correct?
I don't even have the current 2020 data in my computer, but yes, I have to go through the process to have the bills calculated. I haven't even begun it yet.
Okay, just checking in for a status. Thank you.
Sure.
You're welcome. Does anybody have anything else? Thank you very much for participating with our meeting.
Andy, did you find anything out by any chance? I'd hate for you to click off on this thing without having, without knowing that answer.
What's the question?
Whether or not you can figure out how to get this thing to save its video.
Oh, yeah, I think I got access for Christine to record her video. And on my screen, it shows that it's recording as well. And I believe it's recording on the cloud. I think there is a way for me to access that recording. I haven't done it before, but,
Okay.
if need be, I can try to access this recording.
All right.
And that sounds
Okay.
right. I was able to, it says recording on mine. And then Andrew, you should have access to the recording that would be then available to the township, or you would be able to make available to the township.
So yeah, just let me know if you would like this recording. I can try to get it for you.
If you can provide a link to it or something like that to somebody here in the office, that'd probably be a good start.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Andy.
Thank you for setting this up for us, Andy.
Very much
Very well.
appreciated. Krista will receive the link up.
Yes.
Yeah,
I already
Yeah,
put it
send
back
it
in
to me
there.
if you figure out how to get it.
That's what I did.
Okay, well,
Thank you.
Makes you feel better.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, everyone, for participating. Is there anything else?
Withdrawal notice.
No. If not, a motion to adjourn is in order.
Move.
Mr. Jenke, support.
Second.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
All right.
All right.
Motion carries. We stand adjourned.
Thanks.
Thanks, people.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
good night.